Hello and welcome to yet another video. This is the second episode in which Naruto's childhood happens differently. After an incident, Naruto grows up as a guest of the Hyuga clan, but he is more interested in his clan's legacy and aspires to be Hokage. However, a certain fox always gets in his way. Please like and subscribe to show your support. Let's get the show started. Kakashi arrived at his destination just after 10 minutes had passed. Their scheduled meeting was delayed by a significant amount. Naruto had become too weary to stay awake and so slept beside a big oak, knowing the reputation of the man. Sakura was aware that Sasuke was present, but he had left after she had attempted to converse with him. Upon hearing the announcement, the pink-haired Kunoichi promptly answered with "Sasuke-kun," and then woke up Naruto. "Morning men," Kakashi said in a casual manner. "Is it too late for us to meet at 9? Sasuke muttered. Kakashi lowered his eyebrow and asked, "Give me 9? Let's not be concerned about such details." Naruto's bored expression made it clear that he had lost interest in the masquerade, and urged him to start his duties now that we are all here. "You're going to be late, amigo," Kakashi replied, but then turned his attention to his flak jacket. "We had a bit of teamwork yesterday, but let's focus on our abilities today. It's important that you guys work together as a team, and the first thing I ask my teammates is to see how they can contribute." "What are your skills?" Sakura asked, her hand raised, acknowledging the error. "We recently departed from the academy." Kakashi responded with a grunt, "Are you still interested in learning jutsu beyond the standard curriculum?" "No, really." The question remains unanswered as to what is being said. Kakashi recommended learning genjutsu, as stated by Sakura. "I noticed it yesterday that you looked like the genjutsu-type person, as I recall seeing them. It is certain that you possess the specific chakra necessary for it to be there." Sakura muttered, "Genjutsu? That would..." Until she perceived Sasuke's dismissive expression. Kakashi pointed out that the Uchiha have an advantage in Sharingan, and he also noticed Sasuke's expression. The true potential of a person's natural talent is often not realized when they work hard to develop it. Sasuke expressed his disbelief at the Academy's failure to teach proper genjutsu. "I'm not confined to the fundamentals, but I can learn some Katan ninjutsu. I viewed what I saw last night," Kakashi recounted. "If you were to train your chakra control more closely, you could potentially inflict more damage. It's not possible to be as fond of it as you like." The Jonin turned to the unidentified remaining member of his group. Kakashi kept looking at him, and Naruto said, "Basics here, plus some futon ninjutsu, funergy, so I give you my apprehension. In addition to Kage Bunshins, there are also other items included. Yesterday, I caught a glimpse of your Kage Bunshin. It was impressive for a genin to be able to perform such an A-rank jutsu, as stated by Kakashi. Your fuinjutsu lessons are worth learning, but I'm not sure how to get to the bottom of your story. What are my possibilities with it?" Naruto scoffed. He shook his head in shock as Kakashi persisted in looking at him. "I have the ability to design markers for barriers and possess a range of offensive seals alongside them." As he said, so as Kakusa no Fuin, bullet seal, and Inryoku no Furien, gravity seal, and Amori no Fin, weight seal, Naruto shrugged off the questions. He mentioned a few, but they had already been revealed, so there wasn't any need to keep quiet about them. "There's no distinctive thing about it. I have concentrated on mastering the fundamentals of fuinjutsu, rather than memorizing specific jutting techniques." With his mask on, Kakashi smirked, stating that there was nothing special to be said. "Although I presume these jutsu are relatively low-level fuinjutting, mastering them and practicing them in combat is entirely separate. I'm curious as to how many of our jonin or umbu can perform such impressive feats. Then there's the kid, who is a Uzumaki. I'm left wondering if he is hiding more now." Naruto was able to see the tension in their small group without looking at Sakura or Sasuke. He was not concerned about the opinion of his team members. They didn't have a favorable opinion of him, but he knew that it was true. Despite being uncaring, the Jonin appeared to be slightly more attractive. Despite Naruto's belief that showing consideration was less irritating than shouting and hatred. Despite this, there were several reasons why he wasn't willing to disclose much about himself. It would be beneficial for us to create a little timetable, Kakashi suggested. We start our day with one mission in the afternoon and work on missions together. The initial missions will be straightforward given that you are all just novices. Let's make sure we spend a considerable amount of time in the morning and work hard to achieve our goals. If you require assistance with it, either seek my input or take a look at the Central Konoha Library. Your genin clearance should enable you to obtain the necessary knowledge to enhance your abilities. I think that's what sounds is trying to convey. Sakura expressed his disappointment by stating that it was not work. He then glanced at Sasuke's reflection and asked. To be a shinobi, one must have the ability to take care of oneself. While most tasks are accomplished in small groups, it is equally important to possess individual skills. I'm not going to lie, I demand discipline from you. Kakashi made it clear that he only takes seriously those who believe him to be truthful. You can behave like children and be ignored, but I'll treat you as if you're not careful. You decide what you want to say. Set out today to plan your next steps and then meet me at noon tomorrow. We will discuss our plans before proceeding with our first mission. Naruto shook his head and gazed at the smoke left by his teacher, who had disappeared without an explanation, or perhaps because of his unwillingness to admit that he doesn't have time to teach me personally. Jizan is undoubtedly skilled in selecting M. Yuhi Kurenai inquired about Kakashi's genital condition upon his arrival in the room. With a curious look on their faces, Sarutobi Asuma and Mitarashi Anko watched as Yamanaka Inoichi continued to grumble. They escaped, Kakashi shrugged off. Genin, did you pass your test? Anko asked. Amazing. Your track record is impressive. Anko, I don't have a problem with yours, so what can I say? Kakashi taunted him from under his breath. You failed your team once again this year, she stated with a smile. I did what those fools said, and they should be happy about it. It may be the worst team I've seen in 5 years. On the other hand, they lasted longer than I expected. My snakes caught me, and I couldn't help but chuckle, she said, which caused some worried looks from others. We were not very fortunate, Inoichi sighed, appearing depressed. Asuma stated that the academy's curriculum could be enhanced if children like them pass exams. I acknowledge that my team has some challenges to overcome, but it's not as bad this year. Sorry, Inoichi, he said to the blonde jonin who hit her head, but you're spoiling your daughter. Her teamwork is utterly subpar, given that she's both self-assured and bossy, along with Choji and Shikamaru. I could have told you that earlier, Kurenai exclaimed with a smile. After a day of studying, I was given the order to lead one of the new genin squads by Hokage-sama, which led to my continued pursuit of that class. Although you didn't want to become a jonin sensei immediately after being promoted, why did you not just fail them? You are too kind, Anko exclaimed. I have reservations about this team, but they are good kids. Despite their imperfections, I couldn't fail them. My only worry is that they are not prepared for a real fight. Kurenai replied with some pride, stating that the team would be excellent as either trackers or scouts. With a hint of jealousy in his voice, Inoichi stated, an Inazuka, he said, followed by, an Aburame. I'm of the opinion that you would be correct, but I doubt it. If the Uchiha boy was part of the team, it would undoubtedly enhance their fighting skills. After all, he was the most outstanding student in his field. Kakashi appeared to be unattached and gave a shrug. In terms of genitalia, he performed quite well. Although he is not as gifted as his brother at the time, his family lineage should enable him to become one of Konoha's most formidable shinobi in a few years. Asuma remarked, wow, that's a good catch. It is perhaps a bit unjust to compare him to Itachi. Kakashi's expression was, "Hey, it is good. I never worked with anyone like it except for Itachi. He was already exceptional when he entered the Umbu. I have never witnessed someone with such immense potential and tenacity." When the Jonin with silver hairs stopped speaking, Inoichi inquired, "What's the problem?" "You're telling me that you have another genin in your team who is so talented," he quipped. The academy results indicate that Sakura-chan's performance was limited to theoretical tests, which allowed him to compete with Ino-chung. The Uzumaki's response was, "I know, it is true." As the others nodded and remained silent. Upon contemplating the Kyuubi's attack on Konoha, Anko grimaced. The day Kurenai heard her father's death, she reminisced fondly about him. He obtained an average grade on the academy test. According to Kakashi, he was either concealing his ability or the tests were fraudulent. As I tried to test him, he unexpectedly grabbed one of the bells and proceeded to say. Kurenai inquired, "What's up?" "Normally, I had to give them the 2 bells I held." Kakashi admitted to underestimating them this time. Sasuke is regarded as a brilliant individual, and he came close to landing on 1 bell, almost touching it himself. A mere genital size can't make one happy. However, Naruto. He must have been hiding his true talent for a long time, as I pointed out. I'll use my Sharingan to fool him if I encounter him next time. At the beginning of my test, the cocky fellow grabbed one of the bells. Asuma's whistling was acknowledged by others, who were equally impressed. Kakashi's reputation was widely known, and it was remarkable for a mere genital donor to achieve such an impressive feat. Furthermore, it was meant to be an unattainable test, aiming to require the rookies to work together against someone who is far more powerful than them. The mere act of forcing Kakashi to use the Sharingan by means of his genin was. Should he have used it? "What's the chakra?" Anko inquired, with a faint expression. Naruto's unexpected proficiency was beyond her comprehension and could not be explained by logic. The others' looks at him indicated that they also had the same view. Kakashi smiled and said, "No, he didn't need it. I desire to avoid him from ever achieving it. He resorted to using his Fuinjutsu sword to hide himself from me, while I attempted to attack his Kage Bunshin." "Asuma, what's up with you kid, but Kagen Bunshin?" he asked. "Savvy words, but not much else. What was the method used to teach a child that jutsu?" "It'd be wise for you to ask your father," Kakashi replied softly. Naruto's reserves meant that he was not likely to grow up like the other kids. "We were brought up in a war-torn environment and we didn't have to face the same struggles as Naruto. With the exception of him and Sasuke, nobody comprehends what suffering is. Despite being on one team, I am curious about the growth of those 2 individuals." Kurenai stated that they didn't seem to be well matched, as expected. "I mean, I observed the conduct of the Haruno girl. Naruto and Sasuke appeared to be quite different from each other. Despite Naruto's frequent neglect, the Uchiha didn't express their disdain for him." Kakashi nodded and declined to reiterate his doubt about the Hokage's decision. "It'll be all right," he replied nonchalantly. "Are you all content? Where is Genma now?" Anko joked, "He broke his team's record," he said. "I was faster than the rascal, and I couldn't do it on time." He had already resumed his customary duties. Yumino Irika strolled through the village while savoring lunch. "May I suggest we stop by Dangoya's?" As a student had already graduated from one class and the next one hadn't even started yet, he found himself with more free time. It was a positive development. Although he had a passion for teaching, the children's behavior could be offensive to him. Lost in thought, Irika noticed a blonde tuft of hair between the people on the street. Irika yelled out, "Hey, Naruto." He asked, "How are you?" after following the stunned genitalia. Naruto's response was a smile on his face, saying, "Irika-sensei, fine. You're in the right place." It's actually quite good, in my opinion. The Chunin laughed at the news of you leaving the academy, even though it was previously quiet. Despite the fact that Naruto was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, Iruka eventually found the boy's true identity and began to appreciate his company. In addition, reduced classes lead to increased free time. I owe you ramen, so I say sorry, Naruto said softly, as he followed his former teacher to the house of Ichiraku's dormitory. Can you enlighten me on the identity of your team? The story was short and brief. Naruto's displeasure was apparent in his interactions with Sasuke and Sakura, as he didn't conceal his unhappiness or reveal any romantic feelings. Naruto did not devote a significant amount of time to Kakashi's topic. The Jonin appeared content with not supporting them and left them to determine their own course of action. You train separately, as individuals, and then work together as a team during the afternoon, Iruka explained. Naruto asked, what are you going to do with your training? My family's Fuinjutsu is somewhat challenging to master. Iruka grinded and stated, that's what I've been told. There are some truly astonishing rumors about you, Naruto. What was the reason for concealing such expertise? It was common for rumors to be unfavorable about him. In any case, the majority of the discussions were focused on the Kyuubi and Naruto's wickedness, etc. The absence of stupidity was never a limitation. It's likely news to the infamous copy ninja Kakashi, he quipped, while Teuchi handed them their bowls. The owner of Ichiraku's expression was F********* ing read. Kakashi. Naruto was surprised to learn that Kakashi-sensei had recently resigned from his role as an Umbu captain. Iruka glared at the unenlightened boy and said, Hatake Kakashi is a pretty famous jonin. It's a challenging task to trick him into something. With a burst of laughter, Teuchi thanked his now famous customer and mentioned that they could have ordered ramen without any additional fees today. There was definitely something that went unnoticed. Naruto unleashed doubled ferocity on his ramen as he attacked them. The news was met with dismay by Ayam. The young woman was unaware of how she was supposed to cope with that. Naruto's fourth bowl, which included another extra-large miso ramen, was ordered by Iruka, who then had to apologize. Sorry, Naruto, but I'm going to be late at the academy if I don't. It is important to maintain diversity in training. Is it necessary for you to improve your taijutsu? If you ever need help, please ask. Yes, sensei, Naruto replied politely, bidding farewell to Iruka. Iruka had always been a kind-hearted person, regardless of how people treated him in Naruto. Naruto was taught by the teacher who treated him as if he were a real person. He was startled by an exhausted voice, stating that he doesn't even want to train. Naruto was not used to people talking to him, as most of the Konoha population avoided him. His second thought was that hardly anyone could sneak up on him. Unless he was overly preoccupied with a topic, which wasn't the case at this time. You're saying, aren't you residing in the house of Niji? Naruto expressed his fascination towards the brunette-haired kunoichi who had just bought something to consume. I reside at the Hyuga compound, Naruto said with a frown. Are you Niji's teammate? Tenten-san? The girl replied, thanks, when Teuchi gave her the usual greeting. Yesh, by Daimish Denden, hungry, consume fished, she said, while simultaneously running frantically at her bowl of ramen. Naruto was taken aback by her actions, as if the kunoichi with 2 buns had not eaten in days. Naruto shook his head and proceeded to bite into his bowl, fearing that his valuable ramen would spoil. You're going to train on your own, Naruto-kun, Tenten said at the end of her bowl. As for my sensei's response, he said, yeah, absolutely. Hatake Kakashi, who is your sensei? Another voice interrupted them by saying, Kakashi. Where are you? Sit down, Lee, Tenten suggested, causing some irritation. You've completed your additional lap? Lee asked gleefully and quickly ordered something to eat. Were the individuals in your group currently training? Naruto's expression provoked a frown. Mato Guy is our sensei, but his morning workout is a nightmare, according to Tenten's grumbling. Naruto found Lee's blink a few times amusing, partly due to her unusually circular eyes. We are encouraged to work hard every day, as a result of Guy-sensei's influence, the boy with big eyes declared. From the green-clad genitalia that nibbled on his food, Naruto looked to the worn-out kunoichi for encouragement. I see. The other Jonin trained their own genus. As he had expected, Kakashi was late. What is the training regimen that Tenten recommends? Afterward, we spend 2 hours sparring. Naruto yelled out. Damn! Even if not for the efforts of you guys, those days would be long and exhausting. Lee's early starting point is evident. Tenten confessed that she typically joins them at 8 and 7 times daily, respectively. Typically, we'll have a meal in this location 4 hours before spending some time with Niji to finish our missions. Niji's training at the Hyuga estate made her feel almost lethargic, she said. Naruto said, yeah, I saw that. His morning routine involves spending time with Hisashi-sama and putting in a lot of effort during training. It seems like his Juken requires a different type of training than the one used by others. Tenten nodded in agreement. Lee takes the sparring too seriously, and that's why. Lee observed, he initiated it, as he looked up. Naruto said with sarcasm that, Niji is not the most amusing person around, but I'm trying to keep my cool in front of Nejim's team. What was the nature of his behavior? He conveyed to Lee that he found him unsuccessful, and I'm sorry to hear that. A person who is a failure. Lee made a point of scoring to defeat Niji for this reason. I will beat Niji. And then he'll see that hard work beats any genius. Naruto smiled at the exasperated Janino. The geniuses are undoubtedly bothersome. I am not fortunate enough to have one on my team. The haughty memorabilia horde never doubts his superiority over mine. Lee nodded in confusion, as if to acknowledge the extent of Naruto's problem. They were joined by a panting brunette. Naruto briefly contemplated if his eyes were not fine. The Jonin was an adult version of Lee. The kunoichi exclaimed, "You look exactly like this." Lee Tenten had arrived with the same suit and eyebrows. It's futile to do more laps than Lee. Tucci provided Guy with some nourishment as he recovered rapidly. It seems that Tucci was used to doing this ritual because he had already finished cooking the meal before the Jonin arrived. Would you like to come for our morning training? Tenten asked, wondering if she could be comfortable with someone from the regular routine while spending time with two training enthusiasts who seemed to be planning to make her feel crazy. Tenten pointed to Lee and Guy who seemed unprepared, saying that, that's a good thing. There are some excellent narratives about your journey. You can't train in the morning due to lack of resources. But. Tayson, you're so smart, Guy exclaimed, causing Tucci and his daughter, to be taken aback. However, there are no others who can match Naruto. Despite being aware of Naruto's identity, the Jonin still thought it was a great idea. I heard you speak so much, even my long-standing adversary, she said to me during his morning training today. Lee, you're a loser. Guy shouted at his student and slapped him on the head, wiping the noodles from his face. A true adolescent ninja must be able to control his actions. Lee expressed her regret. The sound of Lee, Guy-sensei, and Lee caused Tenten to grom, her face popping out. Don't be bothered by Naruto. Tenten sighed when she saw Naruto's confused expression, saying, just look away, they always do this. Are you confident? Naruto inquired, uncertain about the similarity between the two individuals. Did the Jonin fail to meet the expectations of the Kyuubi? Even though he appeared completely insane, Naruto knew that someone of that rank had to be intelligent to earn it. Are you currently at the Hyuga place? Can you tell me when I'll be picking you up? Tenten smiled, ignoring her slightly insane teammate and sensei. Naruto-kun's expression was disappointed, but Guy still gave him a hard time. Naruto was too fatigued to stand and sat down. I was aware that my endurance and speed were not up to par. Nevertheless, this is what it seems. Why, you did not do anything dissimilar to us, even after trying it first, Tenten said. Maybe, but perhaps not as quickly. And feeling so exhausted within a matter of hours, I'm in worse shape now, Naruto declared. His physical condition had worsened due to his intense pursuit of Fuinjutsu. Dumb, Haruki cautioned me that this was a possibility, according to his statement. Naruto-kun, that's not a very young thing to say, Lee acknowledged with piercing eyes. Guy acknowledged that Tenten and Lee required extensive training to achieve this level. Naruto-kun, perhaps you should have a little more pride. Why don't you come to our meetings more frequently? Guy asked. You mentioned that taijutsu training could be used to enhance your chakra reserves and control, as well as other resources. Naruto's expression was one of a frown. Is that okay? He inquired. It's clear from my words that I mean what you are trying to express. Tenten sarcastically replied, this training is not suitable for most people, explaining that Naruto did not fully understand Guy's intentions when he said this. In addition, isn't it more advantageous to train on your own? Naruto softly stated, astonished that anyone would make an offer like this for him. If you're interested, could you please join me for another morning? Maybe next week? Why don't you come join us every other day? Guy asked, chuckling broadly as Rock Lee did. In addition, you must practice your other arts. Moreover, I was informed about the presence of Kage Bunshin. These can be perfect for Tenten's aim-setting practice. What happened to you? Sakura asked with a disapproving look. Naruto approached him. Naruto inquired, why are you so late? We were scheduled to meet up earlier. In any respect, it is true that this is the case. Sasuke's expression was reminiscent of when Naruto was completely covered in dirt, making him look foolish. You could have gotten yourself cleaned first, which is the most important thing to do. The recommended course of action is to either take a shower or consume some food. Naruto expressed his preference for food as he sat down. Naruto's prediction of Kakashi being late again was realized and executed. He had a low opinion of him, as he found it amusing to witness Sasuke's irritation. The question posed by Naruto was whether Sakura would ever come to terms with the fact that the person she loved did not like to engage in conversation. It's doubtful that. After 4 hours of intense training, Naruto snoozed and found peace. He was fully cognizant of the reason why Tenten had behaved in that manner the previous day. You could have had to deal with this every morning and still be on missions with both Guy and Lee. Naruto was not surprised by her reluctance to let the green-clad pair down and become uncontrollable, as she had developed a more strict demeanor. The warm sun and gentle breeze hit Naruto hard, causing him to shiver. He took it upon himself to be a little more at ease. He believed it was well earned. Sorry, I'm late, Kakashi said, and he spent at least 30 minutes looking at the sun. Good evening, Sensei, Naruto said sarcastically before opening his eyes to say a kind greeting. Sasuke-kun was on the verge of fainting from his anger just as he was about to explode. Each of them briefly explained their plans for self-training. Kakashi added many elements to the topic, including the theory Sakura had planned to explore. Better yet, the absence of physical training she had arranged. Kakashi recommended completing rigorous physical training for at least 2 hours each day, asserting that theory and knowledge were not enough. He frowned after Naruto had explained what Guy suggested. It was noted by Kakashi that it was highly unusual for a jonin to make eye contact with another joint student. Nevertheless, I have no issue with it. The best taijutsu in Konoha is likely Guy's. If not, the entire world. Even though I said it, don't tell him. He goes beyond the boundaries of that competition element. However, I am in agreement with your timetable, Naruto. Despite the warning, it's not too late to back out as Guy is still quite mentally capable when it comes to training. Kakashi did not mention that Guy's low acceptance rate was a significant factor in his surprise. Despite his unusual appearance, the man was very private about his training methods and skills. Guy's actions were not solely motivated by his rivalry with me, he wasn't so subtle. He must be convinced of Naruto's potential in taijutsu if he wanted to include him in his daily training, not otherwise. Genjutsu alone would be too much for him to handle, if that is the case. I think Sasuke is more all-round talent overall, though not as exceptional as Naruto in many ways. Although I recognize the monster's chakra reserves, I expected Naruto to have a greater difficulty controlling them. The training of the Hyuga proved to be a game-changer. Good, he insisted, after agreeing to Sasuke's schedule. We can now begin fulfilling our missions today. Our daily meetings will take place at a specific location in front of the Hokage's office every day. He was taken aback by the fact that the genin had put up her hand and he wondered why Sakura didn't answer. Sakura politely asked, "Sensei, don't you agree to meet us at 12, while still smiling and indicating her frustration with the prolonged waiting. You're still on time, so it's better to be there than late," Sasuke acknowledged, indicating his ongoing frustration. Naruto's nod indicated his lack of concern as he had already made up his mind to not show up on time with the slow jonin. "Eh bien, me. That's okay, too," Kakashi retorted with suspicion. Our meetings take place in front of the office building and we carry out daily missions, as I mentioned earlier. I brought some communication devices for you to use during missions, so it's important to familiarize yourself with them before attempting them. I believe that communication is a crucial element of teamwork, so use it wisely until you become comfortable with each other. Chasing cats is a viable solution. Indulging in the act of smoking weed. Sorting and removing waste from the environment. Squeezing wood in different directions. After reporting their weed disposal mission to the Hokage, Sasuke expressed his disappointment. The D-rank missions for every genin are limited to their ability to handle the more challenging C-ranked missions, as stated by Sarutobi Hiruzen. You will either comply with these challenging missions or discontinue your shinobi behavior until your sensei assures you that you are prepared, he stated in a strict manner. Sakura muttered, Sasuke-kun didn't mean it, while trying to help her crush. Naruto's team was as tedious as the missions themselves, and he looked elsewhere. The morning trainings with Guy were more captivating than the missions themselves at that time. It is a more perilous situation, not to mention. Tenten's target practice was the starting point for her work, especially when she began it. Hiruzen's expression was one of a scowl. Although technically a D rank, there have been some unexpected troubles. Despite their efforts, Team 8 encountered some unidentified obstacles while trying to locate the creature that was attacking a farm in the area. Kurenai requested additional assistance to conduct a proper search of the area, so Team 7 will depart and assist them. Naruto's proficiency in handling the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu will undoubtedly be beneficial when they require additional eyes. Upon receiving the scroll with the mission's details, Kakashi handed it to his students and left, saying, "Thank you Hokage-sama." Naruto and Hiruzen exchanged thoughtful glances, leading him to realize that Naruto was not treating his team with great importance. The group of 7 had packed their bags to spend the night outside Konoha. Due to the unknown nature of the threat faced by Team 8 during their mission, Kakashi opted to embark on their journey as soon as possible and stated that it was unlikely they would return on the same day. The good news is that Team 8 was positioned close to Konoha, and the mission would have been considered a sea-level task if it was not within Konya's jurisdiction. The first to lead was Kakashi, and soon after, Sakura was overjoyed. Naruto pondered whether her excitement stemmed from her decision to spend the night near Sasuke, who appeared unhappy with the mission. Besides that, Naruto was walking with his teammates and feeling uninterested in the entire situation. He estimated that he had left behind enough chakra to last 2 days in the Bunshin at the Hyuga estate, which allowed him to continue studying his scrolls, notifying Tenten about his inability to participate in training tomorrow, and providing assistance to Haruki and Ako whenever they needed it. I could have opted to send a clone and stay at home instead. It's a shame that Kakashi-sensei doesn't have the ability to distinguish between the Bunshin and me. Kakashi expressed his annoyance at Naruto's failure to fully comprehend the reasoning behind sending a clone for team missions, while questioning how he had come to that conclusion. Naruto's concern was not as significant as his actuality suggests. Until now, the Jonin had failed to demonstrate their allegiance to him. In Naruto, the man's apparent lack of interest towards his students resulted in a similar reaction. Upon arrival at the camp set up by Team 8, they did not appear to be greatly surprised. Naruto's imagination suggests that Kiba and Hinata would have detected them, despite their differences in sight. Kakashi-senpai, welcome, Kurenai declared. We've arranged for you and your team to consume food from us. While Naruto was on the brink of leaving their camp, Hinata spoke up and said, "En Naruto-kun." They had already arrived at a dense forested area, but it was dark outside. Naruto felt that it was a lovely silence. Rather than being in a city, it's much better. Naruto's response to the question, "Hinata-sama," was uttered with abandon. "Are you enjoying your meal?" she asked hesitantly. Naruto's snobbish expression was evident as she shared, "It wasn't the divine ramen that I had found during our camping trip, but it was far superior." Ultimately, he expressed admiration for her food. She tried to avoid stuttering and thanked others for their help. The answer is, so what, exactly? Is there a possibility that something that killed cows could get away from you? Yes. Hinata maintained a gaze downcast. The absence of scent is beyond Kiba-kun's ability to detect. Shino-kun is not the only one. Whoever it is, it was able to escape all the Kikai Shino-kun sent out. I am. Naruto observed the expression of the melancholic girl, who appeared to be disillusioned. With her abilities. What did you uncover? The tunes bore a resemblance to those produced by felines. A single feline. The problem is that it is too large. Hinata's expression was one of horror, as she wished the cat had not attacked and consumed all of her goat. It's not advisable to have animals that are larger than cats, such as lions or tigers, in this area. It's clear to me that. Naruto nodded as he spoke. It's possible that someone left counterfeit tracks. It's a fact that these men are unsuitable for romantic involvement. Maybe an individual who utilized the Henge no Jutsu would have done so. But then, why did Naruto suggest that a shinobi should consume raw goat meat? Could it be a monstrous cat? Having nothing else on me, I can easily track down the animal with its intent to kill whenever it sets out. The village's interference could make it work in this area, without any distractions. Hinata-sama, I am grateful for your contribution. We can now return to camp once more. After a long day, Naruto faked yawning, he said. Naruto was unable to conceal Hinata's nod and began to blush, even when there was little light visible. The thought of sleeping with her older partner in the woods made her feel uneasy, and she may have been affected by a small drop of blood in her nose. Hinata's luck turned on her, leading to her being assigned to the second shift of guard duty. The task was tedious because there was no indication of anything happening. Sakura was the lucky one, as he took charge 2 hours later. Hinata heard something before she could doze off in her tent. She shared her tent with Kurenai and, after completing the necessary hand seals, she whispered Byakugan. When she saw Naruto-kun leaving camp, she was curious about his whereabouts. Hinata inquired about the boy's ability to see his destination after following Naruto at a distance. Additionally, how it could have been possible that he deliberately moved so intently towards his goal. Over the past few days, teammate has scouted the entire area multiple times but have not found anything. How does Naruto-kun perceive the presence of something in this area? Naruto believed that he could sense it. It's a challenging situation, she stated. He veered away from his objective. Naruto was able to spot the creature even though it had a faint smell of malice, but it seemed to be invincible. It observed him. Sensed he was going in the opposite direction but for some reason it didn't go off. Naruto said, "Chuchio's no jutsu, Naruto." A small toad was visible in a smoke-filled environment. The small toad's odd nightcap made Gamakichi frown, but Naruto didn't hold back. Just as his little vest had been replaced by unattractive PJs. Naruto said, "Hush. There's a sense that something is in close proximity. It strikes me as odd, not typical at all. Could you identify the species of this animal? I think it's quite intelligent, for human," stated one sarcastically. "How did you come across me? Who or what of you is it?" "Everyone has evil," Naruto said to the figure that spoke from the other side. The voice was a womanly tone, but it was evidently not of human origin. "You're asking yourself, what the hell are you?" Enthralling. I found it fascinating and decided to go on a hunt. I think that gave me a sense of what it was. I have never encountered anyone in the two legs position who could do that. You can also summon the toads from Mount Mayaboku, as you are an interesting two-legged individual. Naruto inquired about Gamakichi's identity and asked why he had chosen to attack animals in the area. Kichi remarked that it looked like a Bakaniko tribe. It's a bit of hazard for the common people. They seem to enjoy playing with their food, that's for sure, a voice whispered. A massive black and white cat stepped out from behind a tree, and Naruto's sharp eyes noticed the mass of an ordinary cat in the moonlight. The creature's tail was unusually long, measuring approximately 5 feet in length. Its fur was completely black except for a few spots on its belly and the entire right front leg was white. Gamakichi was confused with Bakaniko by Naruto, who misinterpreted it as a reference to nonsensical cats, baka means stupid, in his conversation. "Bakaniko, you are a fool," Gamakichi shouted back. When the cat strode towards Naruto, the toad instinctively jumped on top of his head. The tribe of big cats, which are capable of aging and possess basic chakra control, is part of the larger group. Despite not being the most well-known summoning species, they have distinct contracts between clan members and their respective summoners. Too specific, the cat sighed and couldn't conceal the bitterness in her voice. "The person who summoned me died, and due to my lack of experience, I had not made any provision in the contract that it would be finalized upon his death, making me a disgraceful member of their community. Seriously, Naruto, do you think I'm an outcast? Honestly, I don't know. If I were to die at this moment, Kichi would be my only hope of survival." Asked not to respond, Gamakichi replied. "We have a dissimilar agreement with toads, which is not the case for us. They make personal contracts, but we have the same agreement for the few people who are authorized to come and visit us. The contracts they create have their own set of drawbacks." Naruto's expression was, "Yes, they are baka," as he stated in a smirk. "I'm not sure why you're raiding this place, but I'd rather you stay that way. Any suggestions on what your last name is?" Naruto's words caused the cat to tilt its head in a curious manner. It was apparent that she had hoped for him to behave in a different manner. Unexpected. It's a highly unexpected phenomenon. Humans typically approach summoned entities differently. A small number of people consider us to be on par with them. Naruto's response to his statement that he is not truly human was one of unacceptable and absurd. "That's not even a question, and you didn't answer me." The cat's expression was thoughtful, with a hint of understanding. "I believed I had reached my limit when the greatest danger was approaching, but I felt it was more appropriate to express my admiration rather than fear. Okay, I will tell you what." The cat stumbled forward, until it was only a few hundred meters away from Naruto's head. Hinata ceased her pursuit and concealed herself behind a tree in the vicinity. Naruto was in conversation with. Is there a particular thing? She spotted 3 distinct chakra patterns, one of which belonged to Naruto, and the smaller one was identical to the toad that she had seen him summon. The third pattern was peculiar. Covered, almost entirely concealed, even to her Byakugan. The creature was quite sizable in size. Fearing that he was in danger, the timid girl said Naruto-kun and asked if she needed her aid. If he had raised his chakra, she would have immediately jumped in. Naruto appeared to be too easy on himself. The creature didn't appear to pose a threat to him. Chia was the name that the cat chose to give, as he said. The toad's words conveyed that I am a Bakaniko and therefore belong to the tribe. I was once known for killing and eating a few of those vulnerable 4-leg hornheads. I was hungry. Why? I had to eat meat in order to survive on my own, as it was essential for me to maintain the size of her body. Chia, Naruto expressed his skepticism. Wisdom is embodied in the term, Chia. Is the name she chose chosen or borrowed from her family? The first time she spoke, she gave a sense of pride. Naruto stated that you were a marginalized person and slaughtered animals as your prey to survive. Chia softly replied, yes, you have a smaller body. I am still a little smaller than I was at my younger self, after many years. Are you serious, Naruto? Chia chuckled, are you younger than me, and responded with, 2 legs grow faster. The underdeveloped brain may be a possible explanation for this. What do you plan to do with the 2-leg boy? Uzumaki Naruto. I was tasked with intervening to stop what had caused the death of the farmer's herd. The message did not provide a clear explanation of how we were supposed to prevent you, and as someone who feels excluded, I am not inclined to hurt you either. While imagining a solution to the situation, Naruto frowned and scratched his chin. Is it not possible for me to send her home if I cannot sign any more contracts, rephrased Gamakichi. It's evident that signing another contract is in breach of your contract with us. Stay frank. Would you be willing to sign a contract with me, or is it something that requires an oath? Chia was in shock and couldn't keep her answer. Chia, I am sorry to say that I cannot violate my agreement with the toads. Naruto acknowledged that he took his word for them. I am loyal to my word, but I can still do something else. What is your average size? He asked a woman, and Chia laughed her off. About the same size as the pitiful cats that are confined to their enclosures. A bit bigger, but not so big that it looks strange. I am the lone member of my family with a significantly longer tail. Naruto inquired, if you were interested in living at my residence, what kind of lifestyle would you want? It may not be your own home, but at least it should be better than living here, don't you think? Chia glanced from Naruto's face towards Gamakichi with confusion. Sorry, don't look at me. I'm not going to finish this, the toad muttered quickly. I'm not interested in toads, it's too slimy, Chia joked. Is this man a trustworthy individual? What about Naruto? He's an oddball, but he can be trusted. Naruto expressed, I am puzzled by. You must have noticed something peculiar about me, right? I am aware of the emotional impact of being discarded, and it is not pleasant. What is the reason for me not allowing you to come here? I am willing to accept it. I am not as foolish and short-sighted as you 2 legs are. The usual 2 legs. Chia's size underwent a significant reduction. She vanished into thin air, unlike a typical malevolent character. However, she subsided as though Naruto's gradual development was being reversed after several decades. This is my authentic physique, she declared. Naruto-sama, if you are willing to accept me, I will honor you just as I did my master, even though there were no contracts. Chia's tail was not only nearly longer than a typical cat, but also smaller than the ones Naruto had observed in Konoha. In addition, regular cats did not respond. If you want to honor me, it's crucial that I am treated like a friend. Naruto-sama, follow your word and say what you want. Chie. No, can I go now? Gamakichi muttered. If I'm sleeping during my lessons tomorrow, it'll be a cause for Pops to get mad. Kichi, that's a good point. I appreciate your help, and I'll be sure to bring some snacks with me the next time I visit you. Naruto thanked the toad for his late rest, but he soon fell into smokelessness upon returning to Mount Myaboku. Should we also return to camp again? Chie-chan asked. What is the meaning of Chieba-chan? It seems like you are cracking jokes. Cheeky two legs. The expressions on your two legs are always misleading me. Despite my doubts, your whiskers make it more straightforward for me to understand you. I was unaware of the existence of two legs. Naruto stated that they don't, as he turned his head. I informed you that I am not the same as myself. To hold on to Naruto, Chie nodded and jumped on his shoulder, wrapping her long tail around his neck. The pace of progress is going to be faster. Besides, there's another two-legged companion in the vicinity. Are you aware that your friend is secretly sneaking around on you? Extremely discourteous. Naruto's presence in the area left Hinata torn apart. Clearly, he had left their camp and wanted to do this on his own. At an early age, the Hyuga instilled in their children a profound sense of respect for others' privacy. It is essential to educate individuals with ophthalmic abilities on almost all subjects. The Hyuga heiress was curious about the conversation between Naruto and the creature. Naruto-kun is capable of detecting sharp objects, as evidenced by his smart abilities. He will pay attention to me. Hinata wondered what had occurred, and the creature suddenly contracted into a size that was almost identical to that of stout felines. Hinata endeavored to be as quiet as feasible. She hesitated briefly before her curiosity took over, causing her to become more confident and curious. A time of contemplation when she shut her eyes. Naruto muttered, "Hinata-sama," from behind her head. The cat on Naruto's shoulder appeared to laugh as Hinata gave a loud eek before jumping nearly meet her. "Naruto, Keikun?" "Shunshin no jutsu," Naruto said with a shrug. "Are you not on the lookout for me, Sasakura-san?" "Naruto-kun, I witnessed you walk away." "How much did you hear?" the cat asked, replying, she was too far away to listen. With an open mind, Hinata stared at the cat. "Wouldn't it be strange if my white-eyed two-leg eyes could still stare at me?" the cat sighed. Sure. Chie-chan and Hinata-sama are in a dynamic relationship. Naruto introduced Chie-chan and Hinata-sama to each other. "We wanted to get Chie, but it was all a bit of misunderstanding." Chie expressed his frustration by saying, "If you stop with that chan of yours, I will put my claws in your face." "A proud little bastard," Naruto said in a smirk. Naruto inquired if Chie was a tea-talking cat, replying with, "No bakaniko ow." The healing process for small punctures in Naruto's head was quick, indicating that he didn't seem to be bothered by it. "Bakaniko," he quipped. She was in distress when the man who had called her died. The reason she attacked the cattle was due to her need to survive in this area. Her only sensation was hunger. "It's my intention to bring her along on our trip." Chie asked Akeo-san if it was possible for her to like cats. Naruto stated that he would meet her shortly. "I want you to be mindful of not causing her any inconvenience, so please don't act impolitely." Naruto recollected that it would be quite painful, and he grinned slightly at the thought. "Is it time to go back to our camp? I'm eager to get some rest." "I'm feeling drained." Kakashi asked, "What do you think we have accomplished?" The last shift was characterized by him being on the lookout for danger. "Hey, everybody. Chie, please," Naruto said calmly to the cat positioned by him. The cat's gaze was met with a downed look from everyone. And then Naruto was looked up at by them as if he were on the edge of his death. "Is it all gone?" Sakura inquired. "You're thinking, wait, what's up? Is it possible that she is seeking an excessive amount of compensation for her lack of talent, as Chie sarcastically suggested? The loudest shouts are commonly heard from weaklings." Kiba retorted, "What? Sensei." The Bakuniko tribe summoned her, and she was unable to escape after the man who initially called her died. The story was monotonously repeated by Naruto. She was the one who ate the cattle because of her hunger for survival. I induced her to join us and consented to let her stay at my residence. I stated that our mission was accomplished, which is why I said it. Kurenai acknowledged, his eyes wide open, attempting to comprehend the situation. Chie inquired, "What is the story behind her killing of those goats? How did she escape from arrest? And where did you find her?" "I possess a shape-shift, red-eyed two-leg. In my adult physique, it's a straightforward task to eliminate those four leghorn heads." Chie's transformation into an adult-like persona left most of the shinobi stunned. Hinata was somewhat aware of what to anticipate, as only Naruto had viewed it. The sight of a cat of his own size, which was much larger than Akamaru's, left him feeling deeply disturbed and could lead to nightmares for the young Ninken. "Chie-san possesses chakra, and control of it," Hinata declared, blushing when the other person turned their attention to her. "Last night, Naruto stumbled upon her, and I saw her." Shino scowled at the thought. "What was going on between you and your camp in the woods?" "I heard something," Naruto shrugged, ignoring Hinata's stuttered protest. "I combed through the internet and came across Chiem." With a sharp gaze, Kakashi observed his genitalia with suspicion. "I acknowledge the statement. Naruto, you will never be alone at night again." "Not without caution. Did the one-eyed two-leg think I might as well attack Naruto-sama?" Chie's head tilted, causing her surprise to the others. "Akamaru and I are unable to detect any scent, unlike us." "It's a face that Kiba frowned at," he said. "Would you have thought about letting a dog with fleas stalk me?" Chie asked. "The insects that tried to track me with their cloaky two-leg legs appeared to have detected my presence. Did you realize that I didn't perceive their chakra?" Naruto's balance was upheld by Chie, who used her long tail to jump onto his shoulder. "Don't bother listening to Whisker Two-Leg and departing from your home. I confess that I am eager to experience the sights of my new dwelling. The appeal of food is quite appealing." The others observed each other's behavior. Chie's observation of dogs made it clear that Kiba was annoyed. Shino scowled slightly at the nickname, Cloaky, due to its connotations. "Ugh, please. Let's go," Sasuke said, breaking the silence and walking towards his tent. Chie chuckled aloud, saying, "Grumpy two-leg," before cracking a joke when she saw Sasuke freeze and twitch his face. "We'll go to the farmer and tell him we've accomplished our goal," Kakashi sighed. "If Naruto has faith in her, she will. Hokage-sama informed me that he could perceive evil spirits in others, as stated in the report." Kurenai's statement from yesterday is entirely in line with the present situation. It's likely that the reason he found her was because of this. It was a yes, Kurenai nodded. Without fully comprehending the situation, she rubbed her head and proceeded to say, "Go home." If Kakashi is convinced of the boy, she thought, reflecting on the Joninchu's mistrustful behavior. The teams came back home, and Naruto was almost wrapped up in a furry scarf like the cat. The boy mumbled, "Pinky two-leg." Chie has a tendency to choose amusing sobriquets for himself. After a few weeks, Kakashi appeared to be more upbeat. D-rank missions were not a difficult task, but they did provide an opportunity to train teamwork. Sakura's success was due to her familiarity with all the tactics and strategies they had learned during her time at the academy. Sasuke's intelligence was matched only by his silent behavior. However, his growth was remarkable. It was not hidden from Kakashi why Sasuke was so driven. Naruto's growth and power continued to amaze him. While Kakashi believed that Guy's training regimen contributed to Naruto's emergence, he was also cognizant that Jinchuriki were expected to possess inexplicable amounts of chakra energy. He had been hiding a significant portion of his talent before. It's remarkable for a 12-year-old boy to attain such high status. What is the seal's strength, causing Kakashi to be concerned? It was Kakashi's realization that it would be tough to maintain authority over such a significant force. Kakashi had pondered for the first time whether the feud between Sasuke and Naruto could be sustained in the long term, as it appeared to only serve to frustrate one person. Kakashi was pleased with Naruto's decision to leave Chie at home during missions. With her sarcastic comments, the playful cat only served to make things more complicated for the team. It appeared to have a desire to frustrate and humiliate both Sasuke and Sakura. Sasuke's reactions were greatly appreciated, as it took some time for the Uchiha to lose his patience. A massive voice whispered, "You caught the cat again." The sarcastically titled comment was meant to convey a kind and celebratory tone. Naruto's response was, "Stay out of my mind," as he stated. For a long time, Naruto was troubled by sounds only heard in his head and wondered why he never shuts off. Initially, it seemed like his brain was going crazy, but now he could hear its voice. The Kyuubi no Kitsune would sometimes find pleasure in pulling Naruto towards the sewers he was trapped in, without him realizing it. Let's take a closer look at some of the things we've talked about before. Your noble village has all the great tasks, but your teammates lack trust in you. How could I forget the soothsayer who can sense your fear? Your strength is the only thing that earns them respect. The monster made a bold statement about his strength. I was aware of how people behaved before Team 7 arrived. I had prior knowledge of their behavior before they became teammates. I was not anticipating anything, so the Kyuubi ordered Naruto to shut his mouth. He won't start cracking until only a few more seconds later, good luck. The blonde idiot and his seal were too much for me to handle, especially since I killed him earlier. I should have let him first. It's a shame that time was not available. Naruto sighed with relief as the fox retreated. He observed Kakashi staring at him. With a faint worry in his voice, the Jonin asked, "Are you feeling good about Naruto?" "I'm a bit tired," Naruto said in denial, but I wasn't sure what it was. Despite not buying it, Kakashi didn't bother to inquire further. The team is focused on removing the boulders, and this is our mission today. The mountainside was abandoned last week, and the villagers are now advocating for the road to be reinstated. The small village was visible in the distance as Kakashi pointed at it. The most efficient way to reach Konoha was by taking this mountain route. Due to the rockslide, a lengthy descent was necessary. It seems as though the smaller rocks were removed by the locals, Sakura remarked. How do we go about removing that enormous one? Kakashi frowned, acknowledging that it was not his responsibility. Instead, the individuals wanted to work on an adventure outside of their village. The Hokage presented me with this one. Sakura was unable to refute the request as it was made by Sasuke, who was exhausted by the unending D-rank missions. She was confident that Team 7 could remove all the rocks, but only the biggest one. The katan of Sasuke and Naruto's jutsus were useless. Sakura was frenzied in his attempt to ascertain if a leverage effect could be the answer, but there was not enough space. There are no trees or other tools that they could use. Naruto's sigh was heard as he put his arm around his chest. Kakashi didn't seem ready to step up, and Naruto had no other option but to take down the boulder. He had grown weary of this mission. His expectation was that the mission would have turned out to be a little more exciting than this. Which device was capable of performing the task while also being effective? Naruto sighed once more. Unimportant missions. Wouldn't it be more appropriate for you to step back? Sasuke asked in a grumpy tone. Why, please? If you're planning to get hurt, Mr. Grumpy Two-Leg, don't go too far, Naruto warned everyone. The nickname was the most detestable one Sasuke had ever encountered, as he despised it. Just before he completed his hand seals, his teammates were able to bail out. He exclaimed, "Kuchios no Jutsu," in disbelief to Kakashi's amazement. A colossal toad suddenly appeared in the place where Naruto was last seen. Black streaks covered his magenta skin. The majority of buildings in Konoha were covered with his black kimono. The toad, with its colossal spear fork, spiked Susumata, and shield, was a terrifying sight to behold. Sasuke's mouth was filled with anger as he said, "What on earth? Why does he always seem to be so far away from me, even though I can barely move him around?" He was simply an average student with no acting skills or personality. Sakura takes a moment to observe Sasuke's expression, which is why they look at him. The colossal toad was the only thing that caught her off guard. "I'm looking for some, how, in this country." Naruto simply said, "Hiya Gamaken," gesturing as if to inform everyone that he was on top of the toad's head, without any fuss. "I'm sorry to inform you, but we encountered a minor roadblock on our way. Since you mentioned the need for more training." The colossal toad's voice boomed and ran. "I am still clumsy and weak, which is not even remotely close to what I could be. Why aren't you calling it Gamabunta? I'm curious, maybe." Gamakichi relayed that you had a liking for target practice. "However, if you are not interested?" "Enduring, fine, perfect. TSK. The little tadpole and his big mouth," exclaimed the toader. Naruto acknowledged that Ken's shyness was not a surprise, and he laughed with laughter. Frequently having doubts about his abilities and being unwilling to train in close proximity to others. Oddly, Ken reminded Naruto that Hinata was shy and recently began to talk to him more and more. Chie found it amusing, but she refused to reveal the reason behind Naruto's response. The boy was so shattered that he thought the huge toad might faint while standing on top of head. Naruto jumped down immediately, hoping that Gamaken would have a good time, and then he quickly returned to his stunned teammates. "How did you go about your personal experience?" Kakashi began his task, but was soon interrupted by the sound of the toad's weapon crashing into the rock. "Naruto, what led you to summon him? Can you explain why I can't do that?" the teenager mused. "It is only Jiraiya-sama who can do this, as far as I can remember." After noticing something, Kakashi took a deep breath and shut himself off from the situation. "You were taught the Fuinjutsu technique by Jiraiya-sama, who also provided the instruction. He gave me the green light to sign the agreement. Please don't say that, too, unless it would undermine the success of a mission." Naruto stated that if he had not called upon Ken, the mission would have been lost, but Gamaken's third strike caused a hole in the rock. It's probable that the fourth hit would split it apart. It would have been a tediously long presentation. I could have blown up the area, but it would have only worsened the situation. If I were to demolish the entire path, we would also be unable to accomplish our mission. Sakura and Sasuke were confused. The three Sannin were highly regarded in the history books that the academy had to study, as Jiraiya was part of a team that gained fame. The Hokage's pupils, who were as strong as a Kate, became legendary both inside and outside Konohagakure. Sasuke was more enraged by the fact that Naruto had been trained by this legendary figure. It's no surprise that he had greater strength. His ability to surpass the runt would be greatly enhanced if he had access to a trainer like that. Naruto's anger was palpable as he observed the faces of others. "I'm curious, could you please stop looking at me like that?" Not that anyone else would even notice. The pillar had shrunk with a loud explosion, and Gamaken kept on smashing the corpses to allow humans to handle them. "These pebbles are mine," he stated, "thanks for the entertainment, Naruto." "No worries, greet Kichi and Fukasaku-sama." Sakura was a bit metal with the kindness of Naruto to the toad, as she always felt that he was too quiet and unimportant. He maintained a constant distance and spoke only when necessary. She questioned how he was really like. Between Sasuke and Naruto, I am really useless, she said with a bitter sigh. I stand here and they always do everything right, said the speaker. Watching them from afar, watching as they carry out our tasks. Kakashi was aware of the many matters he had to discuss with his employer. As for now, I'll say it. We must clear the road and collect our salaries. He was aware that Hiruzen would soon send them on a serious C-rank mission. While Kakashi was providing reports to the Hokage, the members of Team 7 were walking back through the main street. Sasuke was asked out by Sakura, but Naruto took a jab and declined the proposal. The girl's determination was not affected by it. Naruto had some admiration for her unwavering determination, despite his perception of it as childish. She had never given Naruto the impression that she knew anything about Sasuke. Besides the ideal image, she had of him as the knight in shining armor by default. The fact that Sasuke wore a mask similar to Naruto and concealed most of his genuine feelings was well known to him, as per Naruto's understanding. Sakura appeared to be unaware of the situation. Naruto's occasional questioning about whether he should disclose it to her was overshadowed by her lack of listening skills. If nothing else, she'll be able to figure it out soon. Naruto could not fault the girl for not seeing Sasuke's face, as she had minimal issues throughout her life. She had a good relationship with her parents and was blessed with most of her family still living. The fact that her clan was not very well known, and most of them were merchants and shopkeepers, rather than shinobi, was a positive aspect. Sasuke's experience of trauma was not something that anyone of his age should have expected. It was unclear to Naruto if he truly understood it. Naruto did not experience the same sense of loss as Sasuke, who never had any offspring. A roar of "Naruto-san" pervaded the streets. Rock Lee was seen charging towards them by Naruto in hindsight. A more tranquil Tenten followed him. Where are you? We had a very young morning. Sensei tested us to see if we could open the door. Tenten shouted at him repeatedly, but she wasn't holding back. The green-clad genin, seemingly dazed and confused, caused Sakura to appear somewhat uneasy. Tenten sighed. Lee, do you remember what Gai-sensei assured us of before we started that training? Reap your own mentality for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As you're constantly knocking him out, it's unlikely that his brains have been damaged, Naruto muttered. He gestured to Sasuke and Sakura, saying, we had a mission. We apologize for not showing up today. Tenten chuckled, acknowledging that they could be Naruto's allies and keeping a close eye on Sasuke. Rock Lee, my name is Tenten. Naruto is a regular on-air train for us every morning. Notwithstanding our current situation. I'm not sure. Once again, no more. She yelled, Lee, don't do it, with a frown. Lee's attention was on Sakura, who appeared uneasy while Lee watched. Lee approached her, and Sakura made an effort to stay clear. Hi, my name is Bill Monroe. My name is Rock Lee. Sakura is the one who has it. This was the last thing Sakura could imagine. Let's go out together. I promise to protect you until death. It's not a question of course. Sasuke laughed aloud at the suggestion that he was poor. It was possible that the Uchiha recognized the irony in her response, as they rejected Lee in the same way that Sasuke had done when she asked him out, according to Naruto. Similar to Sakura, Lee's disappointment was fleeting, and the fire in his eyes indicated his determination and unwavering determination. Can you provide an explanation of ever? Naruto resorted to using his facial expression. Lee isn't lame, Sakura. He's most likely poised to become the taijutsu master of the leaf, similar to Gai-sensei. Even though I acknowledge his rickety eyebrows, he couldn't stop laughing. She said, no offense, no bushy brow. Nothing taken, Lee admitted, with a slight frown. I'm not on the same level as Gai-sensei, but I can do better. Your stamina seems to be equating to that of Gai-sensei, as stated in Naruto's frown. In reality, those two are dreadful creatures. He continued, staring at Sasuke and Sakura. Lee appeared somewhat uneasy, despite not being used to receiving compliments. Tenten leaned over to stroke a cat that approached her. It suddenly said, "Ako-sama, I say two-handedly to help you with the groceries, baby." Despite the noise of Tenten and Sasuke's frown when they saw the cat again, she continued, saying, "Your mission is finished." Despite everything, Sakura witnessed the boy hoisting his fist around a kunai. Naruto's response was casual, as if the mission had been accomplished. "I'll be there, need a ride?" "It's like a pinky two-leg, so I have to start eating if I don't move around enough," Chie joked. "Grubby wouldn't be able to detect it," she added before leaving. "That's the case." With a furious expression, Sasuke grimaced, turned his face back, and moved away from the situation. "We'll see you tomorrow," he grunted, without reflecting on the situation. Given that Sasuke had left, it was foreseeable that Sakura would soon come after him. And she succeeded. "Very well, they're on good terms," Naruto said, with Tenten understanding the sarcasm and Lee noting that Lee nodded while looking at Sakura. "I'll see you tomorrow, at least, if I don't have any mission that takes me outside of Konoha again," Naruto said with a shiver. Kakashi-sensei expressed confusion over C-rank missions. "Anything is better than these uninteresting D ranks. If you ask me, it's a total waste of time." "Traveling is a fun activity," Tenten stated, making light of the message. "There are a lot of strange places that the academy doesn't teach you about," but Naruto shrugged off their presence. Or could be. Despite Lee's apparent discomfort, Tenten still hesitated to trade Niji for him. Lee expressed regret that Gai-sensei had told him that transfers between teams are very uncommon. "I acknowledge the statement." Following Kakashi's story, Hiruzen contemplated. Jiraiya's teaching of Naruto was mentioned, but he didn't mention the contract when asked about it. "I had the impression that the Bakuninko was Naruto's summons, but it appears that things are not as straightforward as they appear. According to Hokage-sama, is this agreement? The toads, slugs and snakes are among the 3 most powerful species that can be summoned. According to reports, the Sage of the 6 Paths has passed on secrets to all 3 species since they were first encountered. Jiraiya's power is a clear indication of his dominance. This also implies that they do not permit a significant number of individuals to sign the contract." The relief on the old man's face left a profound impression on Kakashi, who was impressed. "I can sense that your students are growing at a fast pace, Kakashi. Sasuke's growth has been well documented in stories I have heard. I think it's time for me to stop giving you more D ranks." While searching through the box with files, Hiruzen stated, "Let's see what happens." Good riddance to this one. The mission is an escort to the land of waves. A bridge builder is obligated to return home, but is intimidated by bandits. The level of difficulty is not too high, in my opinion. While it is highly unlikely, there is a chance that Naruto may be wanted by other nations due to his status as Konoha's Jinchuriki. Although it is unlikely that many people would want to disrupt the balance between villages, Kyumo has 2 fully trained Jinchuriki. Sakura's news was met with admiration from Ino, who praised her for being impressive. "You have a very fortunate team." Laughs, up and down, "Well, I guess you're right." Sakura was uncertain about what she had to say to her friend. During their time together, they had not spoken much and neither of them brought up Sasuke. She had been fortunate to have him on her team, but Ino was part of a different team. Kakashi-sensei is a strong person, but lacks any apparent interest in us. Sasuke-kun's greatness is well known to us both. Without a doubt, he is the most dominant and proficient member of our group. However, Naruto. He has an odd quality to it. Are you familiar with Naruto? Ino scowled at the question. He's a disinterested person who avoids communication and takes time to distance himself from others. Throughout those years, I was unable to fully comprehend how he felt. To say that it was frustrating was actually quite awe-inspiring. Hinata refused to disclose any information about him, as Sakura admitted that he was aware of the truth. Mission outcomes are consistent throughout. He is uninterested in anything and everything, which only adds to his annoyance. I acknowledge that it is true. Shikamaru's words are essential to hear. Sakura expressed a smile of surprise as she realized that their lazy classmate was not like Shikamaru. Naruto's lack of laziness is unmistakable. It appears that he is interested in being around others. Unless we are unable to figure out how to do it, he never takes the lead during our missions. It was reported by some that Ino had concealed his skills during his time at the academy. I felt they were nonsensical. Naruto, how could it be possible for him to defeat someone like Kakashi? The rumors are real, Sakura stated with a shiver. In hindsight, I suspect that Naruto is stronger than Sasuke-kun at present. What are you up to? Can you explain it? As you spoke about how lucky she was, the girl cut off her friend's hair and said, I think you were so lucky with Kakashi-sensei. Naruto surprised him by introducing Kakashi-sensei as the tester on our first day. It's my belief that he was not taking matters seriously. Despite his response, Kakashi-sensei still maintained that he was holding back. Ino chimed in voluntarily. She asked, how is it like to be with Sasuke-kun every day, and she shifted her attention to the very topic she was most intrigued by. Are you familiar with him? And, you may ask not to reveal anything on your forehead. Sasuke grimaced as he gazed across the street. He observed from behind. Yes, of course. He sighed and replied, she doesn't stop when I ignore her. This is a complete outburst, bro. Why can't they leave me alone? Or is it a national day of hunting for the Uchiha? He entered an alleyway next to the store where he had planned to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. Is it not possible for you to showcase your true self? He's already weary of it, right? She muttered, contemplating whether she would have liked to continue the search. She sprang into action and leaped to safety. She smirked when she was his gaze. Don't be so mad, Sasuke-kun. Repeat that, he grumbled, not wanting to be fooled around with any more. Why is Sasuke-kun being pursued by a cat? With a pure voice, she spoke. Why am I not pursuing you? He asked, leave me to you. Were you subjected to this pressure? She quipped, silly me, I'm not dumb. You should have been aware of this fact. Is that the right time of year? She muttered. If you spill it, I will kill Kami, he warned his listeners. This game is made more enjoyable by your intention, she quipped, gesturing. You've got your hair on from the rear, right? What do you think I said? Exactly, she quipped. The boy stumbled into her trap. In the exact manner that it was intended to be. It looks like something, if you observe it from a certain direction. It's just too perfect for this moment. Chia chuckled, admitting that duck hunting season has begun, and quickly ran off. He was unable to suppress his anger until he saw the tip of her long tail. Cat in distress, he murmured. Observes that the dove has a pet that is quite bothersome. While walking home, Sasuke stumbled and slumped down. D-rank missions were uninteresting. There was nothing more exciting than a D-rank mission with his team. Despite Sasuke's frustration, Sakura persisted in his attempts to ask him out on various dates. It was evident that the girl had a sharp mind. He confessed to having a very high level of intelligence. Even so, she remained extremely dense when she saw him. The blonde daube was not much better. Naruto's silence and distance were reminiscent of his previous actions during the mission, as he had barely engaged in any activity. He appeared to be attempting to defeat Kakashi in a duel about who showed the least interest in Team 7. It's over at this moment, at least. After having dinner, I can go back to my actual training. Ignoring each other's opinions is a nonconformity in teamwork. As he reached the door of his apartment, Sasuke contemplated deeply. "What's that sound?" he asked. It looked as though someone was inside the room. The sounds of it suggest that there are many people. Sasuke drew a kunai, questioning who had the courage to attack him. Is it possible that he had a fan club, or did his brother have one too? It's not possible, no. After opening the door, Sasuke was taken over by his own army. By means of ducks. Confused, he turned his gaze to see what was going on in the area. He was unable to accept the reality of what he had just witnessed and looked at his room. Every morning, he emerged from his room in an impeccable condition. A true genius would pay attention to every detail. Chaos ensued. Sasuke's sole sighting was a single card standing on the table. "Grubs, welcome back," it said. What kind of cat? The cat had executed this action. The Uchiha compound was filled with the sound of, "I'll kill that cat," after a few seconds of silence. The grass was covered in fluffy sand, and Chie purred to herself, "Ah, that was fun. This day will be perfect, and I can only dream of a pleasant sleep." Due to their clan's strict rules, Hanabi had never experienced anything enjoyable. Her mother complied with it. Encouraged it, even to a certain extent. Her mother's eyes would always be filled with Hanabi, who lived in the shadow of her older sister. Despite her confusion, her mother gave more attention to that failure than to it. The clan's demands were met by Hanabi, who fulfilled them all. Hanabi was aware of her superior abilities even at a young age compared to her sister. She was the perfect successor, and it would take generations before the entire clan came to know that. Currently, the perfect successor was confronted with a significant dilemma. A predicament she had not foreseen today. Without a doubt, she had been keeping an eye on it and watching. This was a first-time opportunity for her. Hanabi was aware that her father did not anticipate her spending another 15 minutes in the dojo. Additionally, there was no one present. Nevertheless, it remains unchanged. It would not be a wise decision to take the risk. The perfect heir is not the one. Nevertheless, the cuteness was overwhelming. As Chie lay dormant, she felt a scratch on her stomach. The cat's expression of, "Ah, nice," was heard as she turned on her back. Like a kitten, she purred. Hanabi was unable to ignore the black and white cat, which had an unusually long and fluffy tail that curled around it. This is one of those cute animals Hanabi could narrate with such clarity. Hinata smiled while standing behind a pillar, but she would rather die than let anyone see her weakness in her. For a long time, she had not witnessed her little sister's side. Such a lovely creature. Kiba's initial suspicion towards Chie is puzzling me. How could he have imagined her throwing a bucket of blue paint on Akamaru? It's time to stop putting them in the background. You are aware of the stakes that I am dealing with. The speech continued, "We will be rich if this job is done. It won't be an effortless feat, despite the challenges involved. It's not possible for me to enter without assistance and take the goods, but I need a distraction or risk being caught." In response, he grumbled. "If we were to use the 2 legs, all we got would be distributing the spoils among more people." A brief bark was heard. 50%? Absolutely. The longer you keep them away, the more I can snatch them. The response was a joyful barking sound. All right, I guarantee that I will never throw paint at you again. Sorry, I was a bit bored. The white-eyed 2 legs are genuinely unengaging. It's possible to go insane while in that location. The sound of some barking was somewhat puzzling. I'm going to visit you. Are you unintelligent? With those 3 idiots, would you kill me? This duo dared to insult Akeo-sama. He sold her unworthy meat and had the courage to make a profit by telling her it was her fault. The sound of Chie was palpable. Ako-sama is not insulted and escaped from anyone. Even as she feeds me, Akamaru remained silent, appearing slightly bewildered by the cat's sudden passionate cry. He re-evaluated her. She was both highly loyal and not just a cynic. Despite being a cat, she was not very bad. With the blue paint, he would almost have forgiven her for the prank. Had it not been Kiba days before they managed to get rid of everything. Naruto inquired, "What's the problem?" when Ako paused. As per usual, he supported her with the grocery shopping and other necessary tasks. He had no knowledge about food, and she was unable to carry anything. If not ramen. The unsure look of Ako left him slightly bewildered. Observe this, observe this. Chia, look at me a moment. It's a fact that. The tail? It appears to be her own creation. Naruto inquired about the reason behind displaying a painting of her in this place, as evidenced by the text below. The question on Ako's mind was, do you think they are offering her a reward for theft? What the hell is this? Chia was subjected to unjust treatment. Initially, Ako was quiet and placid, but as people approached a certain boundary, they began to question its boundaries. All of them were doomed. As Sakura closed the door, her mother yelled, "Welcome home, sweetie," and said goodbye. "Mom, I'll be there for you," she yelled at the kitchen. "Dress changes first." Sweaty. She quickly returned to the downstairs area and assisted her mother in preparing dinner. Father would be back home shortly after a long day at the shop. Despite the disadvantages of belonging to a small clan in Konoha, Sakura had her family unharmed. Compared to the shinobi who served in the front lines, merchants and shop owners had a shorter average lifespan. Despite being irritating, Sakura was too emotionally attached to her family to contemplate the possibility of losing them. "I am hesitant to take the risk and become a shinobi, but I am content that my parents are not at risk." Sakura uncovered the truth. Haruno Kazashi embraced his wife with a warm embrace, saying, "Evening, Mabuki." "Good day?" she asked, before kissing him. "Get your dishes ready for dinner in 5 minutes." The man chuckled, "Oh, I'm on my way, honey," aware that he should not disregard the order. Moreover, the fragrance was too pleasing to be expected. "Sakura, I almost forgot, but there was a delivery today, and it was addressed to your teammate." The focus of Sakura was on slicing off some fresh chives to serve alongside the salad. Mabuki nodded and posed the question of where her daughter's belongings should be placed, so she asked for the Uchiha boy. "Are you able to give it to him after dinner?" The package was quite heavy, regardless of what it contained. With a strong desire to explore, Sakura's inner voice whispered that she should do it. The package was sealed, and Sasuke-kun would not be able to open it without creating a bad impression. No, this was far superior. Sasuke-kun was impressed by Sakura's trustworthiness and asked him, "Sakura, where did you find her?" Sakura scowled at the question, "Sasuke-kun, what's your story?" The boy was unclothed, covered in feathers, and had a bag that he had put outside the garbage can. "Goddamned cat," Sasuke declared to his disciples. "Seek out feathers. They can be found in all places." "Sakura, can you explain why you are present here?" Let me clarify. A sachet. It was delivered to my home. Did you see a package, Sasuke? It was meant for you. There must have been a mistake on the part of the mailman. I didn't place an order and it never arrived. Sakura remarked, "There's a note on that envelope." Sasuke expressed his sincere apologies by saying, "I am sorry to say that." "Sorry, please?" he asked with a frown. Upon opening the package, he discovered a book that was both large and wide. He read Ninjutsu for Novices and observed Sakura. "You're not alone in your sentiment. Is it possible for you to give me this book?" What? Sakura was clueless about his response. Sasuke began to wonder if Sakura intended to insult him and ask, why do you think you should do that? He observed a solitary feather protruding from the book. A feather that he had become familiar with over the past few days. Duck feathers. The sensation of a vein popping on Sasuke's forehead caught him off guard. I can't say it enough. I will kill that cat. The bridge's constructor was thought to be Tazuna, a man with gray hair and lack of patience. Great, but I'm stuck with a group of kids, he said harshly, prompting Naruto and Sasuke to give him pause. Enough with a C-rank mission, Kakashi replied politely. The kids are well-trained shoguns who have earned the privilege to undertake this level of work. In order to obtain a higher-ranking mission, you must pay for 4 jonin. Unfortunately for her, Kakashi saw that Sakura looked doubtful. It's likely that she will require some motivation. He remarked that it would be tough to work alongside Sasuke and Naruto, given their exceptional abilities. Tazuna's grunting was unintelligible to the shinobi, who were left speechless. Alright, let's leave the matter to the professionals. The individual who erected the bridge was heading towards the Land of Waves, which is situated near the Country of Fire. Kana Hagakura was in that location. It would take Kakashi and Tazuna, who were slower than them, a few days to make it to the border. Adequate to allocate a small amount of time for daily training. The only way to exhaust a civilian like Tazuna is by giving shinobi the proper training. Hence Kakashi stopped them after 2 hours of traveling. The self-proclaimed bridge-building mastermind, Kakashi, looked grateful as he acknowledged that Tazuna-san is not one of his fellow players and has no business being a shinobi. I have some exercises for each of us, so I can do it individually. He made them perform the advanced chakra control exercise of tree climbing after explaining the theory. Shinobis could climb any surface with just their feet, as long as they had the right amount of chakra. Naruto shrugged and Kakashi didn't seem to be surprised. Chakra control was a major issue for me, and I was forced to do both this and water walking due to Haruki-san and Hizashi-sama. As an illustration, he effortlessly strolled up the nearest tree. Sakura was not expected by Kakashi to do the same thing. Your ability to control your chakras quickly surprised me, as you picked them up so swiftly, Kakashi said, causing her to blush. Despite being surprised, Sasuke did not respond. At least not in the outward direction. Despite 2 failed attempts, they were aware of his frustration and recognized it. The Uchiha's impatience became increasingly pronounced over time. Let's not leave you with Tazuna-san, and I'll take Sasuke along to support him. The lazy ninja stated that they would be back in an hour and requested a meal. It was easy to set up camp and prepare dinner, thanks to Sakura's preparedness and the abundance of kage bunshin that Naruto could make. Tazuna retrieved a deck of cards from one of his backpack's pockets, leaving him unconscious. Playing? Sakura asked, glaring at Naruto. Okay, we're down 3. She had opted to be gentle with the quiet brunette. Won't you consider adding a bunshin? Was Naruto's response. Shortly after, Gamakichi appeared with a group of quick-moving hand seals. Tenuza asked, "Whoa, where did you find the frog?" Without realizing his mistake. The tiny toad insulted the creature by saying, "Don't call me a fool," and responded with anger. Sakura chuckled. Are you capable of playing cards? Pops doesn't like me because I'm too young, but Naruto taught us what it's really like outside of the anime. Assume that you are a teacher. I'm not that good, Naruto said, chuckling. I don't think Tatsu could have comprehended it, despite my observation. The toad's expression confirmed, if only my foolish sibling had the same talent as me, and he would have been so hungry. The 4 of them playing cards was unexpected for Kakashi and Sasuke when they returned. While the Kate Bunshin and his other genin, who were joined by a small toad, cooked the food while their client was apparently left alone due to bad luck. Sasuke was not as happy as he seemed. Kakashi observed that the boy's mood had recently deteriorated. The boy's annoyance was evident, but why did he quickly learn how to climb a tree? He didn't seem to be satisfied with anything. "Let's have some food," the Jonin replied. "After a few hours of sleep, we should increase our pace somewhat." The following days were trouble-free. Sasuke was taught several chakra control tricks by Kakashi, while Sakura worked on increasing her limited chakra space. Naruto was present for Tazuna, but the boy also spent a significant amount of time studying and carrying some scrolls as he took part in the Fuinjutsu. After leaving the Kage Bunshin at the Hyuga estate, Naruto found out that it had dissolved on the third day of his travel and was cursed. Kakashi informed him that clones were only capable of functioning for a short period, as they would eventually exhaust their chakras. The Jonin did not reveal to the boy how insane it was that the clones endured for so long. He asked his student, what was the purpose of having them? The boy responded, "Are you reading some of the Fuinjutsu scrolls that belong to him?" Despite the feedback from the dissolved clones, his head rubbed and he said something else. If 3 days of experience were instantaneous, it would cause a slight discomfort in your brain. Another was assisting Haruki-san and Ako-san with chores. Kakashi was still shaken by the total indifference of the genin towards the A-ranked jutsu. Not to mention that it had been not just one, but 2 Bunshinis as well. Naruto's chakra investment would have been staggering to maintain their health for such a long time. Naruto resorted to them for tasks, clarifying that he had replenished some chakra to make them last longer and confirm Kakashi's assumptions. This experiment is just a demonstration of what it's all about. No evidence of how long they could last. I regret trying it out on a mission, but the situation did not go as smoothly as it should have. The team passed by a puddle of water just hours after crossing the border. All of a sudden, 2 shinobi appeared. The genin was not ready to respond to the unexpected appearance, so the 2 threw a long chain around Kakashi and broke the jonin. The sight caused Sakura to scream in distress. On the surface, there was a hint of anger in Sasuke's voice. Naruto's eyes changed color from blue to purple, with a purple tint. The 2 attackers persisted in their attack until the genin took action, charging towards Tazuna. Tazuna was unable to respond or comprehend the situation, and as a result, he became frozen. The shinobi's arms were moved by one another, thanks to their long metal claws. Despite being too scared to attack Tazuna, Sasuke was able to use a shuriken and kunai to tie up the chain that had been secured to his body before they could do so. Sasuke kicked the attackers away before they could respond, after appearing between them. Regrettably, the athletic endeavor had minimal impact. It may have caused the 2 adult shinobi to become angry, if anything. After releasing the chain, the pair separated and charged ahead without any regard for the Uchiha. Sakura chose to jump in front of Tazuna, fearing for her life and not wanting her team to react by jumping. She didn't feel capable of much resistance against the 2 attackers, but she would attempt to. Kakashi refused to let them take his genitalia, but returned and apprehended the taller of the 2 attackers. The shorter retreated just in time to prevent the Jonin's counterattack. Naruto did not let him get away without harm. He expressed gratitude by whispering, "Thanks, I've been waiting for this one to come to fruition." The shinobi's back revealed a glowing red seal. The fiery, savage seal is known by the moniker, Fuinjutsu. "Release," Naruto muttered. With his eyes peeled clean, Kakashi examined the burned corpse of the man who had evaded him and proceeded to confront the individual he had caught. He remarked to himself that he had to educate Naruto on the significance of imprisoning prisoners, rather than killing them with ease. "Why did you choose to attack Tazuna-san?" he asked in an unsettling and devious manner. "Your clumsy trap looks like it belongs to 2 Chunin from the hidden mist. Truly, avoid hiding in a puddle when it hasn't rained in days." The Chunin's expression was one of pure happiness, as he smiled and his eyes quickly returned. "Damn it," Kakashi said. "Wondering to risk their lives for a project that revolves around constructing bridges?" With a sharp look in his eye, he turned to face Tazuna. "Explore the factors that led to their decision to take your life. We will leave you to your own devices if you are dishonest. If the concealed mist is prepared to invade our land and cause your demise, there must be a considerable bounty on your head. Tazuna was prone to shoulder strain. I apologize for Kakashi-san's apologies. We were unable to finance an A-rank mission in our village. If I were to discuss Gato's involvement, it would not be a B-rank anymore. Our village is suffering from the oppression of this bastard, Tazuna said to Kakashi, now filled with desperation. Every ship in the area is under his ownership, and he charges exorbitant fees. When we initiated the construction of a bridge to break our dependence on his company, he employed mercenaries and murdered some of our people. My son-in-law was subjected to torture, which meant he had to be amputated by his father and suffer a fatal heart attack. A significant number of younger women are present. Tazuna's eyes erupted in anger as he revealed his willingness to risk his life for help, having previously failed with lies and deceit before being saved. Please aid me in saving my village. Kakashi contemplated what to do next after leaving, having already thrown away his own life and not wanted his daughter or grandson to be reduced to mere slave. Status: Gato is a heavyweight, as per his statement. What motivated him to send 2 jonins instead of hiring a group of missing nins? They would not be concerned about the boundaries. The kids would be unable to handle this task, making it an A-rank mission. Abandoning him would be the equivalent of killing him, and it would result in a significant increase in deaths due to its impact on people's lives. The sound emanated from his stoic expression. It seems like we have no other option but to go with it. We will ensure your safety until you return to your country. Despite the deception, Kakashi maintained that leaving you at this time would be disrespectful. My wish is to avoid being like the tyrant who discards innocent individuals. Ugh, no. Naruto's wailing was heard as he spoke. Why bother addressing this deceitful person? Initially, they were high and powerful, but now they have. People appeared to be starving, and everyone they saw seemed hopeless. They found their faces, and especially their eyes, disconcertingly void of color. Upon seeing this, Kakashi came to the realization that he had made the appropriate choice. Kakashi sighed, not expecting any exertion on his opponent's face. The group left the village and walked towards Tazuna's house. It seems that he and his daughter Tsunami, and their grandson Inari, shared the same living space. Suddenly, Sasuke released 2 shuriken towards the shrubbery. Sasuke held up a snow rabbit while Sakura inquired about it. Naruto's mind went blank. We've had dinner, at least, he said with a smirk of surprise from Sakura. Kakashi's sudden vigilance was not noticed by the genin. He yelled, "Everyone down, now," and the giant knife was unsuccessful in reaching them. The rabbit was hiding in the tree, and the blade became stuck behind the bushes. With his shirt on, a tall man emerged from the shadows. He had a shirtless, muscular chest, and was wearing the covert mist sign, which had some minor damage, suggesting that he had deserted his own town. Momochi Zabuza, Kakashi grinned. He has no enemies to fight. There's no reason for me to stop doing it, he said, gesturing over the strap that held his other eye. You should stay away from this guy, he's not worth your time and effort. Guard Tazuna. Zabuza chuckled, as Sasuke was surprised that the brothers did not come back. Sharingan Kakashi. It is a great privilege to know that you have immediately identified your most valuable asset. Your ability to copy will not be of great assistance. Ninpu. He declared, no jutsu, no hidden mist here, as he ran towards the water. As Zabuza disappeared into the mist, Kakashi sprinted ahead of him, leaving Tazuna to his feet. Sakura came close to losing consciousness, and Sasuke seemed surprised. They underestimated the amount of chakra that the Jonin released. Naruto maintained a composed demeanor, but his irritation caused him to be unable to follow the battle. Their speed was too great for that. He sent Kage Bunshin and set up a barrier to defend his teammates and Tazuna. In addition, he had the scent of another person. In close proximity, there was another shinobi who was hiding. Naruto was unable to proceed after discovering that Zabuza had trapped Kakashi in a massive ball of water. He muttered "damn" and ran towards his sensei. The focus should be on the known threat rather than the unacknowledged danger. "Tazuna-san, please keep him safe," he shouted at his teammates. "Water," said one. Naruto suggested summoning a toad as if it were within his abilities, while gathering the chakra to summon Gamabunta. Zabuza kicked him back before he could complete his hand seals. As Zabuza's water clone approached him, Naruto grinned and suggested that they could create hand seals. "Futon," he exclaimed, his hands clasping together like a gun. The sound of explosion was audible. Naruto's chest created a massive air bubble as both hands expelled vast amounts of wind chakra. Naruto had practiced taijutsu and attempted to emulate the Hyuga's technique of centering their chakra on their hands during their Juken-style rituals. Naruto discovered that wind chakra could produce weak shockwaves when he tried to direct it towards his hands. He combined both waves into a single explosive shockwave by pressing his hands against each other. If the chakra was utilized appropriately, the shockwave that caused Zabuza's water clone to break into pieces was caused by the explosion of chakra, which had briefly enveloped Naruto. Naruto's barrier provided cover for Tazuna and the others, but the authentic Zabuza was caught off guard. Kakashi lunged at Zabuza as the shockwave ripped through the water prison. After gaining an advantage, Kakashi made quick work of Zabuza. Zabuza was beaten by multiple senbons before the Jonin could deliver a decisive blow. An underage masked intruder showed up. "I am grateful for your help, which is why I say, thank you." The shinobi calmly stated, "I have been seeking the body of this traitor for quite some time." The sight of Zabuza's throat being pierced by multiple senbonis disgraced anyone who thought he was gentle. That cloak is not present in the actuality, just an illusion. "A hidden mist hunter Nin," Kakashi remarked. It was surprising that someone of such a young age held such an elevated position. The hunter appeared to be of his own age on the genitals. The young adult replied, "I have finished your battle, let's clear the corpse and bring back his sword into the hazy depths of night. Goodbye." Team 7 was unable to return to Konoha after the journey had come to an end. The Sharingan had caused Kakashi to become tired, and he had to rest before they could travel again. Simultaneously, Kakashi was apprehensive. He was deficient in something. Naruto was the term used by the Jonin to refer to his student. "What did you learn about the hunter Nin?" Naruto inquired, uncertain about what was spelled out. "Kakashi-sensei, do you think you asked Naruto what I detected, as he was aware of his distinct sensory experiences? I am unable to confirm whether or not there was any malice in his conduct." "She could be." Naruto admitted to having difficulty identifying his gender while wearing the clothes and then scratched his chin. "I spotted someone approaching me, but I didn't see any problem, so I concentrated on the Mizu Bunshin and helped you out of the water prison." Kakashi nodded and followed his reasoning. "After being hit by Zabuza, I experienced a lack of energy. Nevertheless, I have the impression that I overlooked something crucial." "Is it possible that he is still alive?" Naruto asked with a frown. Kakashi gave a shrug, uncertain why he had been asked. "I am uncertain, Naruto, what is it? I was hoping you could give me some insight." Kakashi bowed as he spoke. "I'm not flawless, amigo," Naruto declared to his companion. "If individuals truly believe that their actions are ethical, I won't be able to detect any wrongdoing. It's not feasible for me to separate each person in my surroundings and determine their moral standing. Almost all individuals are a blend of both types. People are often mentioned in literature as having a pure heart, but this is almost entirely untrue. If I pay attention to someone, I can always come across something. It's not that simple to find a morality. It's important to note that." "It's strange," Kakashi admitted. "It's to feel things like this. To what extent is this aptitude?" I can feel hatred. If it is strong enough, I can feel fear. According to a book I read, hatred can be traced back to fear. Naruto chuckled softly. It's not that I can detect any deception, though. I wish I could execute that action. In that respect, the Byakugan is probably much better than me. As Kakashi pointed out, it's also a more effortless task to counter or mislead. I suppose it is true. People are not able to conceal their true selves, unlike how they appear on screen. Unless they are truly crazy, individuals cannot change their emotions through willful actions. Is there a possibility that the masked kid is working with Zabuza, as per your understanding? It would be the most rational thing to do. Naruto yelled out, "Guys!" With a curious expression, the others entered the room. Sasuke's situation involved being agitated. Sasuke and Sakura must rotate their exercises accordingly. Kakashi instructed that Naruto and the other person collaborate to safeguard Tazuna-san. Sasuke's demeanor was characterized by a dark and sinister appearance. Sakura was perplexed. We questioned why we had not killed Zabuza, and the Hunter Nin was responsible. Kakashi stated that we presumed he did, but it's up to the genin to determine its significance. Although, we have Gato left behind, and I'm not convinced he'll give up easily. You're probably anticipating a subsequent attack. Sasuke finished his task. It would be reasonable. Naruto's barriers were formidable, but he was undoubtedly the most effective defense. If Kakashi was not active, Sakura and he would have to stay in close proximity. The most enjoyable way to spend time was through training. While Zabuza appeared to be sleeping, Gato stood above him. Unbelievable. Despite spending all the money on you, Zabuza was never able to retrieve the knife while a masked shinobi cast Gato backwards. The two mercenaries lunged at him, but succumbed to their injuries before landing on the ground, leaving them unaware of their fate. You're not supposed to touch Zabuza-sama, the boy, or girl, hissed. Gato retreated and ran away. In the event of the failure of those foolish men, he would simply take on his own command and carry out the task. Hitting Shinobi was the final step in quashing the death sentence of the village that had already been served. Stay for a few days, Zabuza whispered, before interrupting Gato briefly. On the third day of their arrival, Kakashi was asleep in a bed. Sasuke trained outside the house in the morning, while Sakura and Naruto supervised the construction site. Until Naruto showed up in his room, Kakashi was perplexed by this. The blonde boy exclaimed, "Let me be known as a Bunshin, don't worry. I need to ask myself a question. What does the term, Sharingan, mean?" Kakashi thoughtfully replied, the Sharingan was responsible for the Uchiha's fame, as it owed its merit. The user gains a significant understanding of how chakra operates once they are awakened. They can imitate a jutsu by reproducing it, without the need to learn it in the usual way. To thwart a jutsu, or to oppose it before it is played. You're often called the copy ninja by people because of your super eyes. My left eye was given to me as a gift, even though I am not an Uchiha. From my closest friend. In hindsight, Naruto revealed to Kakashi that what is it capable of doing. My guest's disdain for the Sharingan is evident in their apparent lack of enthusiasm. In my view, the Sharingan's influence is dependent on his other abilities. The bastard is too proud to admit it, so he won't confirm. His irritated silence is satisfactory. The fact that I joined your team, along with the remaining Uchiha members, is a testament to my dedication. I am aware of the fact that. Kakashi gave a vague response, acknowledging that he was not Uchiha and therefore not aware of the Sharingan secrets. Naruto had gained enough wisdom from the Hyuga, even without using the Byakugan. Given his sensei's inability to respond, Naruto nodded and popped his head. The real Naruto believed that the disintegration of the Bunshin was unlikely to be confirmed as he chose not to deny it, despite being instructed not. The reason for Naruto's silent treatment was questioned by Sakura. He had seemed to have shifted slightly during the journey, but this morning he was as quiet and distant as ever during his time at the academy. If it wasn't for the obvious dislike most adults had for him, she would have never really seen him. She had always believed that they would be able to justify their actions, so she followed her lead with evidence. As was expected of her. She wondered if the majority was correct after seeing what she had seen of him. Naruto's social behavior was typically reserved for his younger years, but his affable nature improved upon himself. Despite his lack of physical appeal or charisma, Sasuke found him to be a good and trustworthy person. At times, it may not be excessively serious. It appeared to her that he was capable of challenging Shino in that regard. Naruto's demeanor was almost as if he had a dark secret, unlike Shino. Is it conceivable that he had knowledge of the village's animosity towards him? Sakura was left questioning why the adults responded in such a way. She asked him, "What's the content?" and looked over his shoulder at the scroll that was almost impossible to read. Naruto surveyed her, uncertain if he should reveal his thoughts to her. He shrugged, indicating that she was not likely to cause any harm. "I was given a quantity of books and scrolls on Fuinjutsu by the Uzumaki family, which I also inherited. Have you been told that by your clan? I've never heard of any other Uzumaki, just the one you mentioned. Is correct, doesn't it? My family was largely disbanded before I even turned 5. The news was given to me that I am the final survivor in my family." Sakura inquired about the possibility of 2 individuals belonging to the same clan in a team. "I've read about the workings of seals, and I find it challenging to comprehend their mechanism." Naruto expressed his belief by joking and nodding off. "I spent 2 years learning the basics with the Kage Bunshin, but I eventually found that the seals were more complex and intricate." He said, "I knew she was interested in the theoretical stuff, so I decided to give her some more of the explanation." After observing her nodding, he inquired if it was appropriate to combine the different chakras with the various hand seals in jutsu. "The fundamentals of seals are identical. Rather than hand seal, there are now more written insignias to be used. There are now more combinations that can be created with greater accuracy, as evidenced by the increasing number of signs. Additionally, the user must ensure that the seals are drawn out correctly and in the appropriate amounts for the correct types of chakra. While there are workarounds, the direct methods that have been tested consistently yield better outcomes." Sakura was contemplative, stating that chakra control is necessary, but there are some individuals who possess significant control, and few people show up practicing Fuinjutsu. The strong seals necessitate a significant amount of chakra, making it impossible to create one without the aid of any other. The more people involved in making a seal, the more challenging it is to produce. It's clear to me that the abundance of chakra types, their timing, and the varying degrees of comprehension are all factors. That's where the Uzumaki typically gain their advantage. Based on my family's history, it appears that those in my lineage had significant amounts of chakra and had a remarkable amount of endurance." Naruto acknowledged that this was probably the only reason he could hold back the Kyuubi. "In the end, I tend to study these types of scrolls to interpret them, and acquire the skill of mimicking the jutsu. The task of teaching me is a source of great frustration, especially since nobody other than Jiraiya-sensei can provide guidance. The majority of the writings left by my ancestors are incomprehensible to him." Sakura's teammate was treated with an unexpected level of respect. He was a constant source of surprise for everyone, as they had no idea how talented he was. The ability to excel was not solely determined by genetics, but rather by hard work and diligent efforts. "If he can grow in this way in a few years, how much will it take for him to grow up?" asked Sakura. Upon her return to her post, she experienced a stronger sensation than ever before. The promise of hard work leading to positive outcomes gave her hope, but at the same time, it was also hopeful. Naruto's curiosity was left to the side after Sakura returned. "It's odd that she behaves in such a distinct manner. She acknowledges her dislike for me and disregards my attempts to initiate a conversation, but why would she begin it now? She's impressed, the Kyuubi responded with confidence. The monster chuckled, I am amazed by my strength. The village was hit by a massive explosion from the opposite side, before he could respond to the monster's warning. Stay in here, Naruto warned, gesturing towards the workers and his 24 clones created for their defense. Let's go, he told Sakura after she was shocked. The affluent Gato grinned at the sight of his small army dismantling the village. The unintelligent individuals resisted him. It was necessary for him to make an example of them. It would be more prudent for the unintelligent individuals to refrain from opposing him. After taking control of the backwater country, he could expand his business in the land of water. He ordered his mercenaries to strike down any hired shinobi after a few days until they had left. Even if they had not surrendered, what possibility existed for them to fight against his troops? Nevertheless, the generals assumed that Zabuza had died and departed with the belief that the threat had been eliminated. To what extent would they be incorrect? His men would ensure the village was destroyed and any opposition in the region would be broken down by his powerful forces, with the exception of interesting women. Gato expressed a smile, saying that it was good day today. Hearing that the bridge builder's daughter was not unattractive caught him off guard, and he ordered some of his soldiers to apprehend her. Entertainment in private. It was going to be a good night, he joked. His male counterparts were free to do as they pleased with the other females. Sakura was rendered insignificant when he saw the devastation and loss of life that the mercenaries had brought. The group consisted of at least 100 men who carried heavy weapons. Despite the high number of people in the village, how were they able to save it? Her teammate's frozen state caught her attention. The blueness of his eyes had diminished. A new kind of wild rage consumed his face, unlike anything she had ever witnessed. Kyuubi's voice in Naruto was so deep that it growled at him, saying, filthy human scum. Humans tend to have a lowercase view towards animals or bijuing individuals. Nevertheless, only you can bring about such terror. Despite being labeled as a demon, Naruto was unable to discern the extent of human cruelty in this instance. He was cautiously aware of Sakura's fearful expression and growled at it. Tajukage Bunshin no Jutsu. Gato's eyes shone with astonishment as his army was outnumbered. A group of blonde genius, dressed in black pants and white shirts, looked present. It appeared that his army was largely demolished in a matter of seconds. The resources he had allocated to gather the finest soldiers in the area were all wasted in 1 second. The torsos that were tied to them were separated from their arms. The severing of heads was done. Organs that have been ripped apart. The event occurred rapidly, resulting in a surge of blood. Upon seeing what he had, Gato looked pale with emotion. He was on his way to dying. Gato, you must be, exclaimed a furious voice. The smoldering crimson eyes caught Gato's gaze as he looked back at the character. The merciless eyes that looked down upon him had no mercy. Without a single moment's hesitation, Gato was aware of his singular capability to accomplish only one thing. He attempted to flee without realizing that his pants had become soggy. The only thing Gato could think of was escaping. Escape from the boy with the eyes of the demon. The shipping magnate's heart was shattered and a flame-clad claw penetrated his ribs. Before the man realized he was dying, his burned heart had already fallen to the ground. The change in behavior of her teammate left Sakura feeling horrified as she watched. His ability to create at least 200 clones was not surprising, but his behavior left her stunned. The clones took down the mercenaries. Even though Sakura was aware that those men were entitled to compensation, she found her teammate to be a brutal assassin. He's terrifying. She trembled and contemplated. With wide-open eyes, she was taken aback by the red that filled the streets with blood. The clones were no longer present in the village after the attackers were removed, leading to the discovery of their master, who was now running towards Tazuna's house. Despite his relief that his recovery was going faster than he had anticipated, Kakashi decided to let Sasuke handle the attackers instead of risking straining himself by using lethal force. Furthermore, the boy required someone to express his dissatisfaction, and these mercenaries were deserving of something. They had clearly intended to eliminate Inari and bring about the tsunami. The men in question were the absolute worst kind of junk. Sasuke's performance grew stronger as he managed to finish both of them simultaneously. The rewards of hard work are rewarded, even for those who are considered to be geniuses. The explosion in the town caused him to feel shivers. There is a complete assault on the scene. Kakashi stated his thoughts on the matter. Sasuke, welcome aboard. Despite his efforts, the Jonin was not able to finish his sentence as he had to dodge a large blade that had appeared out of his sight. Kakashi was unable to keep his distance while detecting that Sasuke was also being attacked. He was truly scared, as the masked boy had also turned out to be a traitor. Zabuza smirked from under the bandages. We're going to meet again, covering most of his face. It's not going to be an easy task, my friend said. I am confident that Naruto and Sakura can handle any attack on the village. Even if it is a Chunin, Sasuke should be able to defeat one opponent without difficulty. Regrettably, the masked boy was much more powerful than Kakashi had anticipated. Despite Sasuke's near demise during the fight, the masked boy unveiled his Kekkei Genkai, Hayatan. The ice release was too much for the talented Uchiha, who had to use his One-Tomo Sharingan. The speed advantage he had previously enjoyed was lost when the frozen mirrors experienced an increase. The masked boy leaped through the enormous mirrors of ice. Sasuke was unable to harm the mirrors or dodge the incoming Senbon. The pace was unreasonably slow. Excessive. Upon entering the vehicle, Naruto observed his colleague lying on the ground, needles covering him. Sasuke, he inquired, visibly annoyed. Naruto uttered the words, shit, as he saw the Uchiha barely remaining conscious. Who are you? The voice echoed from all the mirrors that were left. Amazing, taking down 3 mirrors all at once, Naruto roared. Uzumaki Naruto's story is a true depiction of the Japanese classic. The person who takes your life will be identified by that name. The boy responded with curiosity, appearing to be curious. That's even more impressive. Hi there, my name is Haku and I am thrilled to have you as one of my friends. The Senbon's pining caused Naruto to question the identity of the character. The individual in the mask spoke with a gentle accent, as if they were unhappy with the task at hand. It remained uncertain whether the person was male or female. There was no hint of malice, which was the most unusual thing. Naruto had no interaction with his adversary, resulting in the feeling of partial blindness that he seldom experiences. You mean Fox, how much do you trust me? Naruto quipped. Haku asked for surrender. I have no intention of killing you, I just want to make sure. My sole responsibility is to prevent anyone from disrupting Zabuza-sama's duel. Naruto observed Haku in the mirrors, while his sensei fought against the rebellious entity. It seems like you're still in need of me, weakling, said the fox with a smirk. It was content to channel more of its chakra to Naruto, who was still completely unaware of the Kyuubi's growing power through it. Haku's attempt to launch another attack was unsuccessful as Naruto managed to get away with it quickly. Hakan replied with the phrase, he outdid me without a Sharingan. Naruto, feeling distraught, screamed in frustration. It was more than a mere scream, but it was also an electric shock. A skirmish of air. Pure force is the only thing that can be said to exist. The blonde boy generated enough chakra in the mirrors that they began to crack. Haku's fear was felt for the first time in a long time. An opponent who was stronger than his master can evoke feelings of fear. Sorry, Zabuza-sama. I have failed, the ninja whispered to himself, but the blonde boy's fury was too much for him to handle. She screamed when Sakura arrived at the location. Injuries were inflicted upon Sasuke's body. The limbs were left with needles of ice that had melted, but they are still attached. They were in a state of shock and an unidentified body crashed past her, dropping only 5 feet from where they had been. Naruto flees from his fallen adversary, catching Sakura in tears as she clutched Sasuke close to her. His unyielding resolve faded away when he perceived some feeble movements from his black-haired colleague. Naruto was left in a state of disfigurement when he discovered Haku's unconscious body. Honor should not be attached to killing an enemy without a frontline position, but he felt the Kyuubi calling for Haku's death was incredulous. Kakashi asked, "Is he deserving of death?" when Zabuza was distracted. It has been a long time since the Kyuubi's chakra became evident. Even the most experienced Jonin would be embarrassed due to Naruto's excessive use of chakra. After Jiraiya opened his celestial gates, it is possible that he could be considered stronger or become his eternal enemy. Few individuals possess the ability to obtain such quantities of raw chakra. It's no wonder that Zabuza was disturbed. Kakashi had to acknowledge his own nervousness, even if he knew where it came from. Kakashi endeavored to ask, "What would you say if we ended this conflict?" Zabuza looked directly at him. Was it a deception? He experienced something that made him feel uncomfortable. A dark and unpleasant entity was in close proximity, and it had initiated a conflict with Haku. Rather than continuing his fight against the Leaf Jonin, Zabuza chose to support his young partner. Despite Kakashi's physical limitations, Zabuza recognized that the player was still capable of mimicking his own movements. A draw against a weak opponent is tantamount to losing the fight. Against this foolish foe, I am one hell of a loser. His contemplation was interrupted when he sensed that Haku had gone missing. Lost. Zabuza grinded, very well, as he swallowed his self-respect. It's imperative that you ensure that my partner and I don't go anywhere. What is the meaning of alive? Even if it's the last resort, I promise to take your life and those insensitive individuals. I promise, Kakashi replied. I'd recommend rushing, but I'm uncertain about the impact of my sex on your partner at this point. As he contemplated, your genitalia. Does this indicate that you think this is one of those children? Zabuza expressed almost disbelief. Sakura aided Sasuke in standing up. He was aware of being beaten, but also struggled with frustration and anger. Sasuke was rendered unconscious by Haku's needles, leaving him helpless. It was beyond Naruto's abilities to do anything, according to him. Sasuke's eyes widened as he gazed into the corpse of his deceased adversary, only to discover that the unmasked ninja was still in existence. The boy was approached by Naruto, who appeared to be lost in thought and uncertain about his fallen adversary. Sasuke was aware of his actions. Gokakyu no Jutsu was the response shouted by the Uchiha teammate, which surprised both of their teammates. Sasuke remained unfazed as Naruto was still in the path of the fireball. It would be a bonus to kill the blonde idiot, he murmured. Naruto yelled out, "Sasuke," after witnessing the Uchiha's determination. With his hand still burning from the time Haku was attacked, he said, "What are you doing?" The attack was too weak for him to acknowledge, as if it were even more devastating. Naruto was not bothered by the attack itself. The opponent's down position does not matter to him. Despite not hitting me, he appears to care. Naruto's thought was filled with sadness as he looked down. After feeling sad, Naruto realized how strong the malice Sasuke was. His own teammate was attempting to cause him harm. "You jerk, kill that man," shouted the Uchiha, infuriated by Naruto's calm response to his attack. The cold and dismissive look in Naruto's eyes caused him to feel angry. Naruto remained silent and only extinguished the jutsu on his hand before striking Sasuke with a punch. A challenging task. The sound of Sasuke's nose breaking caused Sakura to flutter and fall asleep. The sheer force of the punch sent her flying towards the boy she loved. She had a strong urge to intervene and wait for the fight to end, but she never got around to it. The sight of Kakashi drew her attention. She yelled out, "Sensei," to cheer everyone up, and the Jonin was present between the two boys, preventing further damage. With an aching voice, he warned his teammates not to attack them. He remarked, "Zabuza-san, I trust our agreement is still in place?" "Stop Naruto," when he saw the blonde genin move. The genin who had defeated Haku was the subject of Zabuza's attention. The chakra being attributed to Zabuza's child was beyond their grasp. It appears as though no payment will be made at this time. Witnessing the way that kid has taken Gato assassinated her. He added, "I can smell his blood on you, brat." He was taken aback by the surprised look. "I'll wait for you to see us again, Kakashi. Nevertheless, I will fight you until the very end. Let's not allow consequences to overshadow the positive ones." With Haku in tow, Zabuza quickly departed from the vehicle. After fixing Sasuke's broken nose, Team 7 went back to Tazuna house for rest. Tazuna was unable to hold his breath and shouted, "Inari! Tsunami!" as he made his way back home. Inari sprinted forward, into the arms of his grandfather. "We were saved!" Tazuna exclaimed, and the child's eyes wide open. "It's true, I saw what occurred. Naruto managed to drive them all away from the village he had attacked. Is Zabuza alive?" Tazuna looked crestfallen after Kakashi filled him in. The Jonin slowly raised his hands to say, "Sleep," in response. As his employer has passed away, Zabuza is a professional and won't be seeking any more. Furthermore, he was aware that we had the benefit. It's a tough task to take Zabuza down without getting hurt. We had no reason to put our lives on the line, so we both decided to retreat. I believe you are correct. What occurred to the kids? Your daughter is aiding Sakura in mending Sasuke's nose, Kakashi blurted out. Naruto is presently outside, conducting an investigation to determine if there are any additional mercenaries in the area. Kakashi-san is the term used to describe this behavior. I have a question for you, please. What does Naruto-san know about him? Tazuna inquired. He had observed the village. The clones that had terrorized Gato's army were witnessed by him. I cannot disclose any information, Kakashi sighed. According to Naruto's account, the mercenaries' actions were the primary reason for his anger. We are not supposed to have any problem with killing when it's necessary during the mission, as we are shinobi. It's clear to me that. Tazuna scowled and was slightly taken aback by the boy's violent conduct, feeling that it should be considered normal. Despite everything, Naruto is an exceptional shinobi, Kakashi asserted. State to the townspeople that we are not a threat to them. It's only a matter of time before we take our leave. The wound sustained by Sasuke will heal quickly, and my condition should improve soon. I was fortunate not to have to overwork myself while recovering from the last fight. Tazuna's words were taken in stride by his request for a few days. Our country's freedom will be celebrated after we bury our dead tomorrow. We are pleased to have you as our saviors and we look forward to welcoming you all into the party. Alright, my friend, Kakashi sighed. We will be staying here for a minimum of 2 days. Naruto woke up the Jonin, Kakashi-sensei, in the early hours of the morning. Naruto, the Jonin chimed in. What's the subject matter that you are interested in discussing? Gato's camp was where my initial corpse was discovered. The guards were scarce, so I removed them. I'm curious about the whereabouts of all the money and other objects in our system. There are numerous deceased individuals and a few women who have survived. The boy added in a dark tone that the survivors were in pretty bad shape. Kakashi sighed and asked, we were out the whole night. Naruto asked, how do I sleep after what happened yesterday, in a cold and unfeeling tone. Is it possible to bring back the survivors from the evacuation pad? I'm uncertain about the extent of the journey. Naruto stated that he would be there in 30 minutes, as evidenced by his response. At our pace, at the very least. I'll deploy duplicates and bring them back to the place. 6 of them are quite mobile, and 5 are unconscious. What about Gato's treasury? The village is in a critical need for the money, and I believe they deserve it right now. The fact that it was likely their money before Gato stole it doesn't make them any happier. With the funds available, completing the bridge should be an easy task. Kakashi thoughtfully stated that he would require the full amount before handing over the funds for an A-rank mission. Or else, the Sandame will snatch at me. I came across a considerable amount of information on the topic. There were numerous publications on finance and business in this region, as well as scrolls about the land of water. Furthermore, there were reports suggesting that Gato had some connections with Kirigakure. The scroll was considered strange by Naruto, who looked at him with a frown. The story centered on the land of whirlpools and also featured the symbol of Uzumaki. I acknowledge that my family's roots are in that particular place. Despite the fact that it appears to be a report, I am unaware of its contents due to the encrypted nature of the scrolls and the numerous seals on them. I didn't want to risk any seal being deactivated. After blinking a few times, Kakashi's sleepiness disappeared as well. Despite the improved relations with Kiri, inside information on Kirigakure will be of great value to Hokage-sama and could be crucial for future missions. I hope you can keep them with me. This knowledge should only be kept confidential for the time being. According to Naruto's blunt voice, affirmative is a positive thing. I am curious about the details of the Uzumaki scroll, but I want to know more. He stated that he had limited knowledge about his country of origin and then disappeared in a smoke-filled room. His proficiency as Kage Bunshin no Jutsu has undergone a significant improvement. The combination of his chakra and creativity makes Jutsu the perfect fit for him. Naruto was spotted sitting on the roof of a building on an edge of the village, where the community had commemorated their newfound freedom. It was relatively effortless to bring the valuables and other resources, as well as the women he had found, back to the village through Fuinjutsu. Naruto had observed numerous emotions on the faces of the villagers upon his arrival. The sight of their kidnapped females returning to them, wounded or dead, filled with anger, defeat, and sorrow. Broken down, for that matter. The mood was characterized by happiness, gratitude, relief, wealth, and the presence of his survivors. The women survived the horrors and were reunited with their families. Naruto's fear was evident in the villagers' faces, which caused him pain. The apprehension of him is not uncommon. Angered by the fact that he had saved them from harm. He was used to seeing it in his own village, but now he is facing the same level of discomfort as before. "Those loners," exclaimed one. Naruto wondered why the town, whom he saved, is now afraid of him. They are not the only ones who have it, either. I am feared by Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi-sensei. Do not have feelings for me? While I rescued them. They have a duty to express gratitude. Avoid looking at me from afar, as if I am an out-of-body. Naruto was able to hear the Kyuubi's words before being pulled into his arms. Naruto did not hide his irritation by asking, "What?" "Sorry, doesn't it?" asked the fox. "What's your topic of discussion? Don't make fun of me, please. I observe everything you do." The demon growled at the thought that, "It's all I have left in this godforsaken place and there is nothing left for me to do." Those individuals, their reaction inflicts pain on you. As for me, it's true. Naruto acknowledged that it is true. I rescued their lives, and now they look at me like I am a monster. Humans are known for their short-sightedness, which is a remarkable trait. Their focus is solely on their own well-being, and they are oblivious to external factors. Whenever they encounter something above them, they express hatred. They are weak due to this very reason. People will always look at you without any suspicion of me. Naruto's expression was one of grimace. The Kyuubi retorted, "How could they hate me?" to the boy's surprise. "Those individuals are the ones. They perceive themselves as superior to everything else, and therefore mistreat everything that is not their own. My kind demons are what they call me. Human beings have a deep-seated hatred for us, and they attack and confine us in cages. Human beings are afraid of everything that is more dangerous than their own capabilities. They must be aware of their arrogance, but they are too cowardly to acknowledge their inferiority," the fox growled. "What sets humans apart from animals, living beings, trees, and plants?" Naruto asked. The fox had never been as sincere as he is now. The majority of the time, it would annoy him by cursing or making fun of him. It appeared to be a lecture given by him on Naruto. Naruto quickly realized that he was identical to the human beings described by the fox. "You're not alone in your sentiment." Naruto's sigh was heard. "You're not the reason why the people in this town don't hate me. Despite their lack of knowledge, they fear me for the same reasons. Irrespective of the irony in it. I exhibit behaviors similar to theirs, even though I am not." The fox said Jinchuriki, as if the words were a curse or an awful insult. "You've been blaming me for my behavior, and I deeply dislike the world that doesn't like me back." Naruto asked, "How can I say that I have some understanding even though I don't understand?" Despite the fox's refusal to acknowledge it, she now finds herself in a dilemma. "You despise me because I am your confinement, and I hate you because you were confined inside of me." Naruto's sigh was heard. "Where does the hatred that exists between people and their creator, who are without power?" the fox murmured. "Sealing me and my companions with the intention of taming them." The creature scowled at the idea of using us. Naruto asked, "What is your kind?" after a few minutes of silence. With a sudden head tilt, the fox's surprise was evident as his eyes widened and he nodded in amazement. "Why do you want to know?" Naruto shrugged. "If they keep looking at me like this because of you, I might as well try to figure out who you are." According to the fox, we fall under the classification of Bijou. The hawks are the creatures in question. Although the number of us is not particularly high, it doesn't matter at this time. The number of tails we possess varies between 1 and 9. We are all different from you humans who have the same physical features. Naruto was impressed by the fox's movement of his 9 large tails, which made him feel proud of themselves. "I have 9, the fox said, adding to Naruto's confusion about his own number of 9. "I am the most tenacious person among my peers. The one-tail's power is far superior to that of any other human." The Kyuubi acknowledged that almost all of them agreed. "Note to those humans who have gathered enough power to impress us, like the first Hokage, are not forgotten. I think that's what sounds is trying to convey." Naruto scowled. "You look at them and realize they are your brothers and sisters. Why haven't we evolved to avoid having children? Due to our immense chakra and power, humans have always harbored apprehension towards us. They aim to transform us into weapons. My siblings were taken by humans and imprisoned in their cells. I was also taken into custody. It's dreadful that Uchiha Madara was caught. What am I?" Naruto scowled, taken aback by the magnitude of the Kyuubi's statement to him. "As you were once, you resembled a human, like all the other miserable creatures," exclaimed the fox in hushed demeanor. "You were a human until my chakra penetrated your body and began to transform you. Influence you to change your life's purpose." Naruto sighed and stated, "I am not both human and not a bijou. It's no wonder that I'm considered a monster by everyone." The fox quipped, before retreating to its cage in darkness. The word monster only serves to demonstrate their lack of intelligence. Unable to grasp it even by someone who is not skilled at math. Naruto's mind was awash with emotions and thoughts. He asked, "Who am I? What is my identity?" as he exited his mind. "If people don't want me to be like them, I should just stop pretending." Friends. I am not on par with them in terms of my own character. Is it possible for me to belong to their group despite having never been? Despite the kindness of Sakura and other locals, I am afraid that others will perceive me as their own worst enemy. What can I do to become a better person? It's only a matter of time before they betray me too, Naruto said, holding his face in his hands as he looked away from the celebration. Naruto felt betrayed and asked why he had been so concerned. The Kyuubi, once again isolated in his hushed state, wondered why he felt conflicted. The boy finally began to seriously hate humanity after all, but somehow the fox didn't feel as happy about it. He was annoyed that the boy had not abandoned his unfulfilled desires of being accepted, but now he appeared to have done it and the feeling was void. His former incarcerants had no interest in him or his family. They never would have asked. Didn't even think about what he thought. The fox was aware that the boy's soul had to be corrupted to diminish the seal, but his remarkable mental prowess impressed him. The boy merely shrugged against humanity, while he had every reason to defend himself. As if the boy's core was made up of good intentions. The Kyuubi sighed. It's best to hold off and see what transpires. He is expected to fall like any other person in his situation. The seal can be released once it has weakened enough to rescue me, but the most important step is to prevent the brat from dying. Why not make the most of my time here while I am stranded? My partner may have other plans to prevent me from leaving. Brat, show me your worth. Attempt to prevent me from doing anything wrong. The death count was 23 due to the corpses that Naruto brought from Gato's camp. 35 more people were injured, with 4 of them in critical condition. Kakashi pondered how it could be considered a success or celebrated event. Despite his struggles, he eventually gained some understanding of the people's perspective after years of struggle. He recollected the moment when Konoha was filled with happiness at the conclusion of the last war. The majority of Konoha had reacted with cheers. The majority of people were too consumed with hatred to allow the war to continue. There are still people who hold that perspective. Kakashi had gathered the funds for an A-rank mission and found valuable information in Naruto's scrolls. The success of the mission for Konoha was more significant than anticipated at the beginning. Kakashi had hoped that the next C-rank mission would be less challenging. This country in Konoha had the opportunity to celebrate, but Team 7 was unable to do so. Sakura's reaction towards Naruto was mirrored by Kakashi. Sasuke's actions were witnessed and heard, causing Kakashi to sigh with sorrow. Despite comprehending their response, Naruto's expression still causes him great pain. It's important to acknowledge that his burden won't solely be a source of pain. The situation will only worsen as time goes on. The hatred Naruto feels will only serve to strengthen the hold of Kyuubi, causing fear and even hostility among others. Naruto is expected to react when Sakura becomes afraid and Sasuke loses his affection for him. When and how did Kakashi give a massage to his head? I am not physically fit. Kakashi whispered that he would be a poor choice, recalling his previous objection to the Hokage's decision on Team 7. Tazuna's absence resulted in a quicker return to Konoha. Nevertheless, Sakura perceived it as taking twice as long. Sasuke and Naruto did not communicate with each other for a second time, as the first one only looked at others. Sasuke's killing intent was evident to Naruto, even though he ignored her. The atmosphere was too unbearable to enjoy. What implications would this have for her team? They could discuss their fight afterward. Her team members appeared uninterested in conversing with her. The issue was more than just a minor quarrel. During this mission, something was irreparably broken. The Uchiha declined to apologize to Naruto when Kakashi attempted to address the matter, and Sakura appeared to be upset by this. Kakashi sighed and acknowledged Hokage's error, acknowledging that their friendship would not survive. If they are not dismantled, they will be destined for death during a future operation. It's something he should be aware of now. The Hokage expressed gratitude to Kakashi and Team 7 for resolving the issue. Despite Kakashi's lack of mention of the Kyuubi, Hiruzen was able to deduce what Naruto had done. He was even more disheartened when Kakashi revealed Sasuke's actions to him. He had attempted to assault his teammate on purpose. Despite Sasuke appearing slightly uncomfortable when Kakashi revealed his wrongdoing, the boy's anger was evident. Sarutobi Hiruzen's perspective was that the Uchiha did not feel any remorse for his actions. Something that made the situation even more intricate. Due to his position as the final Uchiha, he was unable to exact a significant penalty for this wrongdoing. "Sakura, I hope you are feeling better." The old man sighed and asked, "Sasuke, I am meeting you tomorrow at 8 in the morning." He had to find a suitable way to handle the Uchiha, and since it was the last member of his family, he could not act excessively. The council would never accept punishment in prison or a demotion to genusness. As for Naruto and Kakashi, stay put, he added. A brief message was written by Hiruzen, who then sent a guard to deliver it. He was aware that she had not yet collected her task for today, so it was expected to arrive soon. Subsequently, he expediently prepared his pipe. He required a smoke-free space. Naruto's demeanor was characterized by a lack of emotion and quietness, while others attempted to express their emotions through dialogue. On the flip side, Kakashi appeared to be remarkably troubled. "Kakashi, can you share with me whether I made a mistake on team, or is it just my perception? There has to be something done." The old man bowed as he spoke. He had hoped that the two boys would become closer together, just as he had been with Danzo many years ago. Nonetheless, he was mistaken. The boys were unlike each other, and it's possible that Kakashi was not as skilled as their sensei. The next generation of Jonin would have to pass a test that every shinobi had, but not all wore the same red robe as it did in the old ogre. Naruto needs to be altered, according to Hiruzen's observation. "You didn't mention how Sasuke attacked you, Naruto, and chose not to." Naruto stated that there was not a lot to talk about. Sasuke's choice to avoid attacking me was not influenced by the fox itself, but rather by his hatred of me. He tried to burn me, causing me to break his nose. There is nothing else to say. Naruto's tone was so indifferent that the Hiruzen looked down, worried. Naruto asked if I was on his team, "Do you think it would be of interest to join me?" and he replied with a shrug. "I'm not expecting people to treat me more favorably. The typical cold reflections are not as bothersome as fireballs. Moreover, Sakura observed me and is troubled and harbors animosity towards me due to my actions. Sasuke's attempt to harm me was not caused by the fox itself. I am not confident that the intensity of the attack would have had any adverse effects on me." "Are you not fond of teammates who show respect?" pressed Hiruzen. Both Hiruzen and Kakashi were taken aback by Naruto's hollow laughter. Naruto asked, "Do you hold me responsible for your actions? I have a feeling that none of you on Earth believe." "Naruto, it's not advisable to do that." Kakashi initiated the journey. Naruto's tone was unnerving, saying, "Sensei, your apprehension is obvious. I can relate to the parallel between fear and feelings of mourning, but I also recognize its contrasting qualities. You're not much helped by your small gesture of indifference." The door was knocked down by someone. Hiruzen urged people to come in, saying, "Come on in." Yuhi Kurenai, the Jonin sensei of Team 8 and Naruto. The woman with black hair welcomed the group, Hokage-sama, Kakashi-senpai, Naruto-san, and was slightly taken aback by their appearance. The room's strange vibe has left one even more surprised. "Do you think I questioned the reason for my summons? I hope that I won't have to leave Konoha today. Asuma has been informed that you're likely to be late for your dinner tonight, so I'm sorry," Hiruzen quipped. The news caused Kakashi to frown and Kurenai to blush. "I remember when you expressed concern about the balance in your team, and I believed we could tackle two issues simultaneously. As far as Kakashi's mask could see, the two jonin looked at each other and opened their mouths to begin speaking. Kakashi urged her to start playing. Kurenai stated that his team is too focused on scouting and tracking, but lacks the strength to defeat more challenging opponents. Alchemy, Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, Inazuka Kiba, and his Ninken Akamaru are part of my team. I'll take a closer look at the reflection. With a thoughtful start, Kakashi proceeded to explore his surroundings. Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Uzumaki Naruto are my idols, said the boy, tapping his shoulder. I'm not saying there's no problem with their fighting abilities, but two of my teammates have had a disagreement. Naruto's silence was overshadowed by his apathy and indifference towards the conversation. It was simply the teasing of a handful of humans. He was not worried about the team he ended up with, as they would refuse him regardless. The dispute between Uchiha Sasuke and Naruto turned into a violent one. For this reason, I propose that you bring back Naruto to your team, Kurenai. Hiruzen argued that this would be the most advantageous resolution for both teams and provide a balanced outcome. With Kakashi the Sharingan, I am unable to take Sasuke out of his clutch. Sasuke will be reliant on assistance. Kurenai's expression was one that indicated he didn't understand the situation. In exchange for my genin, I would like to keep Hinata as part of my team and offer Kiba or Shino to join them. Kiba's unpopular reputation and tendency to be viewed as hardcore, coupled with his professed loyalty, make him an unlikely choice. From what I have seen, he and the Uchiha boy at the academy did not have a good rapport. Kakashi agreed that the Aburame's logic could potentially balance out the emotional instability experienced by my team. After nodding, Hiruzen looked at Naruto and smiled. Naruto, this is a somewhat peculiar event. The transfer is not a common occurrence for us, so I must ask you and Shino if you share my opinion on the matter. With a shrug, Naruto proceeded to smile. Is it not too late? Don't worry, he asked. It's best to disclose my true self to her. With a shrug, he nodded his head in front of the Hokage and left, acknowledging that she may need to learn the truth before regretting her decision. Hiruzen's expression was one that indicated he didn't smile. The failure of Team 7 was a source of regret for me. I chose Kakashi to take care of Naruto first, but Jiraiya is not. Naruto's reliance on Kurenai for genjutsu would be compromised if Kyuubi were to become uncontrollable. Despite lacking the Sharingan, Kakashi is not knowledgeable in controlling the creature. I need to inform her of the fox's only known weakness. Kurenai's thoughts remained in turmoil following the meeting. The Hokage, after disclosing some S-ranked secrets, decided to inform the Aburame in person to prevent political repercussions. Shino's father Aburame Shibi held a rather high position of power in their family. She had spoken to Kakashi about Naruto after leaving the Hokage's office. When Kurenai thought about Hinata's reaction, she smiled slightly. The bashful girl reasserted herself a bit, and Kurenai quickly became aware of her emotions towards Naruto. It is possible that Hinata could also benefit from this change. While on her way to meet her team, she questioned Shino's response. Kurenai-sensei, was the greeting she received from the three genin, who welcomed her as well. A small training ground with grasslands and a large lake was chosen by Kurenai. Good afternoon, she said to her students. She said, sorry, I'm late with this one. I was ejected by the Hokage. Shino nodded and stated, Hokage-sama has addressed the issue with me and my father as well. Kiba scowled at the question, issue? Kurenai sighed, what happened to Shino? I see, he replied. What caused the lack of clarity regarding Aburame's thought process? Hinata was uncertain about what she had to feel. She expressed her happiness that Naruto would be part of her team, on one hand. Despite her sadness, Shino had to depart. Although he didn't speak, she still considered him to be her friend. The Aburame sarcastically declared that the Hokage could not object to the transfer as it was the most reasonable conclusion he could make under the circumstances, and therefore had no grounds for criticism. Hinata questioned whether Shino was truly devoid of emotion. She knew that he would feel sad, and she was aware of this. Unless Shino had feelings for them, she couldn't make sense of the silent boy's thoughts. The fact that his clothing was mostly hidden made it hard to read his expressions and body language. Kiba was notably simpler to read. The Inuzuka's dissatisfaction is evident to the untrained eye. Despite being like many others at the academy, Hinata never had any connection with Naruto, but she was aware that he would have a preference for Shino over Naruto. Logic, Kiba was fiercely loyal to his teammates. On the flip side, Kurenai appeared to believe that Naruto would be a better addition to the team, although she admitted to feeling regretful about Shino's departure. It was Hinata's belief that Naruto-kun might be at home and she could inquire about the reason for his transfer. The lack of explanation from Kurenai-sensei regarding the incident that Shino had identified as the cause of this strange transfer was somewhat frustrating. Shino also turned down, despite acknowledging that the Hokage had provided some explanation for the reason. He had made a commitment to his father not to disclose what he heard. In the realm of Naruto, adults were notorious for their secrecy. The dissolution of genin teams, which had been in operation for only a few months and were set to commence with the Chunin exams just weeks before, was an unusual move. It must have been a significant event, whatever the outcome. But Hinata didn't let this be a curse, so she moved as fast as she could. The tranquility of her position is a measure of one's character. Nevertheless, she was curious about what she wanted to find out. If she had the courage, Naruto would suggest that she ask him. After hearing Naruto's story, Haruki was impressed by the mission and expressed his satisfaction. Zabuza, the demon that lurks in the enigmatic universe. When I was a shinobi, that man was already present with me. Despite my good health, I would have preferred not to encounter someone like him. He was known for his unsavory reputation. Ako shook his head in despair, realizing that Haruki had already worked as a jonin before he was forced to retire. Thanks, Naruto-kun, for surviving. Naruto's head scratch caused him to receive the attention he had anticipated from Haruki, which was not unexpected. Despite his efforts, the boy couldn't resist Haruki's one gesture. Naruto was aware of it and used it to make fun of him. Naruto's expression was one of dismissal. The country of waves has done away with that Gatonian, and I'm pleased to see it. Naruto, it should not be an easy task to kill someone, Haruki remarked softly, acknowledging that Naruto concealed his true feelings by pretending to smile. The man thought that Naruto was burdened due to his murder. Caused the death of numerous individuals. It appeared to be a straightforward matter when I observed the actions of those scumbags. Nevertheless, I believe it would differ slightly for an individual like myself. Ako snapped at the thought, saying, "How dare you say that?" Naruto was unsure about the number of individuals saved, which would have resulted in their deaths. What is the number of males and females who have survived due to you? And how many have had children? Even though I eliminated a few things, what did I ultimately accomplish? Chie's head was raised lazily by her friend. The two legs were more dreadful than any scum. Think about it as weed elimination, with the goal of maintaining good crops. Whisker two-leg, good to go. Nevertheless, a statement remains unconfirmed. No. Ako muttered. Trash, like them, opted to kill others for the same reason as money, which is unwise. The avaricious lads got what they wanted. They were just like anyone else. You are aware of this. Naruto was taken aback by Ako's quiet and reserved demeanor, but he later realized how unexpected it had been. Unfortunately, he stated. You win, he declared to the girl as she stared at him and expressed her desire to continue talking. Ako subjected the girl to marshmallow punching, prompting Haruki to speak out, knowing that she would not be able to stop her rapid behavior. Chia acted as if she believed, distracting AKO by leaping into her arms. While usually avoiding everyone except Naruto, the feline creature made an exception for AKO. She had a complete allegiance to the person who provided her with food. Another thing your teammate did was a bit off. I'm not at fault for hitting him, but I would have preferred to have stuck a kunai in his throat, Haruki stated bluntly. It's a good question to ask. Naruto's expression was a gloomy chuckle, in which he expressed his belief that Sasuke held resentment towards him due to his dislike for the Kyuubi. It seems like I never had anyone hate me because of my actions. He sarcastically added that his role as the demon that almost destroyed Konoha made him expect such behavior to happen. The sound of Naruto's words left Hinata frozen as she walked past the window. She had rushed to speak with him, but now she was unwillingly listening in on a conversation she should not have heard. She used to be happy, but then she became horrified. If this were the reality, wouldn't anyone would be interested in discussing it? I feel a bit annoyed by being banished again, Naruto explained. It was clear that things were going my way, but it was still a little better. Despite being similar to Sasuke, Sakura appeared to have some changes and even displayed pleasant demeanor. Despite the attack, she was still scared by the small show of bloodshed that occurred shortly after. Observing my true self and the abilities I possess. Gay, the most unexpected thing is that they took the time to transfer me. If others were to perceive me for who I am, they would not react differently. Chia remarked that the person who told him that his two legs were not alike was you. It's important to take into account your inner voice when making decisions. You affirm that the white-eyed two-legheim was distinct. Although the dog will be an anomaly, it is only reasonable to anticipate a dog to behave immaturely. Hinata was taken aback when she heard Chia's words, and later realized that Naruto-kun had spoken to her about her. Haruki sighed and said, "Chia is right, Naruto, in response. Remain hopeful and wait for a brighter future." I was already aware of my passing, and I barely cared about what remaining life left me. They didn't take responsibility for taking care of me until recently. I was anticipating my death, but you made it feel like a happy ending once more. Excluding the period when I had to instruct you on proper manners. Even if there are a few idiots who act like that, it doesn't mean everyone is perfect. Although I was initially scared when we first met, it did not mean that I harbored any animosity towards you, as AKO stated. Not everyone is foolish enough to hold a grudge against everything the previous person believed, which you disagree with completely. Hinata-sama may not be as short-sighted as ordinary people might seem. You're correct, Naruto sighed and said. Nevertheless, it remains unchanged. Can you explain what an is? I'm thinking about taking a brief stroll. I need some fresh air to clear my mind. It's time for me to ponder on this matter. Take a moment to relax. According to my understanding, Naruto is a work of literature. According to Haruki, the Hokage did this for the benefit of his own people. I acknowledge that. Nevertheless, this task is being carried out. It seems like I'm drifting off, Naruto said, revealing that sometimes it feels as though she's losing interest. I used to think that if I protected you humans, they would start to accept me. It's becoming increasingly difficult to control our anger after this. You're not slipping away, AKO said with clarity. Relive the positive experiences you've had. It's undeniable that I still have a memory of them. Do not give up hope, as some person may judge you without any understanding of your character. I acknowledge your goodness, and I am aware that every other person would have suffered if they had only a small portion of your burden. AKO-san, thank you very much. I'm going out for a walk, can you believe it? Naruto asked. If you had witnessed me killing those mercenaries that day, what would have been your response, AKO? As for you humans, why should you run away? Or did you do something else? Hinata remained silent while her body continued, looking like she had just been frozen into oneness. She was not expecting to hear things like these. And certainly not what she wanted to hear. She was terrified by it. Is this the genuine version of Naruto? Haruki stated that he is not interested in purchasing it. After enduring the challenges, it is clear that he is not in any good condition. He is a master of lies, Chia asserted, without hesitation. He was brought up with all you white-eyed individuals, after all. I acknowledge that, but I am curious. Ako expressed with a hint of desperation. What's the next step? If I were to play as a teammate, I would have noticed that my participation was insignificant when he requires someone to assist him. Do you have faith in what you're about to receive? Haruki asked softly. Had you not been aware of his secret, would you have had a different perspective on the matter? Ako added that he is ahead of the majority in this clan. Without saying anything, she snorted and nodded. Chia's words left Haruki stunned, as his eyes widened in amazement. Hinata-sama, can you join us? Ako inquired, and Haruki reacted by closing the window. They awaited the genin to enter the cottage. Ako grimaced and said, I guess you heard most of it. The shock caused Hinata to nod and her face became white as chalk, making it possible for her to not blush in her embarrassed state. I'm sorry, Ako-san, I say. I didn't intend to hear Naruto-kun's conversation about it. Is there a specific topic that you would like to discuss? Tears streamed down her face. Why him? She cried, her eyes wide open. Why did they do that to him? Haruki gave a sigh of relief. It's unfortunate, but it could be good. You have information about some of Naruto's actions that benefited the village. Is it accurate to say that was compelled to do so? Naruto has indirectly informed you that the Hokage's law no longer prohibits me from disclosing information to you. Even though I am certain that Hayashi-sama will not approve of this. It is necessary for you to be aware of the truth. It is my request that you keep this information to yourself for the time being. This is a hidden crime that can result in the death penalty if you disclose it. To safeguard Naruto, the Hokage implemented a law similar to that. Haruki rubbed his head hard, trying to figure out the best way to express himself. As early as Naruto's birth, the Kyuubi launched an attack on Konoha. The creature was defeated by Yondaime Hokage, but it is not known if he was able to kill it. A human's ability to destroy a demon like that is too limited, and his only option was to keep it from attacking. This is incomprehensible to me, please don't ask me how. He committed suicide as a result of his actions. The Yondaime sacrifice ensured that it would not cause any more harm to people. Naruto was chosen by the Yondaime for a particular reason. The Hokage endeavors to keep the knowledge as far away as possible, but there are enough individuals who know about it. The perceptions of those who are aware or suspect that the truth about Naruto exists, influence the others as well. Naruto is widely disliked due to this reason. The reason for his isolation as a child was his being thrown from one orphanage to another. Not that anyone did anything wrong of him, but there were some incidents and Naruto is good enough to see through someone else's facade. He is intimately familiar with how individuals view him. As per Ako, Naruto's role in protecting us from the monster is beyond belief. Despite their actions, he remains committed to fulfilling his obligation. Despite the external attack on him, we are unaware of what the Kyuubi is truly capable of doing as he protects us all. While the Hyuga opted for neutrality, the young woman's outburst was evident as she started to walk. Chia was still in her arms, but she had stopped touching her. Hinata-sama, I thought you came here because you knew Naruto had been transferred, Haruki said, anticipating the girl's nod before answering. As a team member, assist Naruto in his quest for justice. For the majority of his life, he has been turned down. It's heartbreaking to witness him experiencing rejection again, this time due to something he didn't intend to cause. She was agitated as new tears streamed down at the same pace as her wiped them. What's the next step? she questioned. I am eager to lend a hand and assist. I can do it, Ako said with a shiver of disappointment. Stay strong, stand by him, and listen to his voice. Avoid encouraging him to reveal things he doesn't want to share. He is expected to inform you personally when he believes the time has come. It is now necessary for him to have some level of confidence in others. Chia asked if the boy or the monster was in sight. Do you see the Kyuubi or Naruto? Chia observed the girl muttering her response to the cat's inquiry while keeping quiet. If you truly desire Naruto, I will aid you in locating the character. The two-leg is the one that rescued me. I owe him my life. However, I am unable to do the same for him. Reason is no longer a priority for him. The man's expression was so sorrowful that Chia added, you should have heard his voice as well, oh my goodness, sorry two-leg. Emotion may be able to persuade him even when logic and reason are not sufficient. When the brain is unable to manage tasks, the heart typically takes charge. At what point did you decide to save him? What is he playing for? Ako inquired. Chia sighed. What happens when you are consistently turned down and denied the possibility of belonging to one group or another? If this occurs repeatedly, it will cause you to become alienated from those around you. Did you hear him talk about, you humans? What would happen if Naruto was reduced to being a demon? If his will were destroyed, he would have abandoned his desire to be accepted, while that is the most important thing to keep from the devil in check. Ako voiced his objections through a protest. Chia made a clear statement, he is cognizant of this information. He is cognizant that he is not the Kyuubi. Nevertheless, this does not indicate that he regards himself as a human being. Moreover, the act of knowing is not the same as experiencing it. I am not anxious about what he is aware of, but rather about his emotions. What do you mean by that? Haruki gave a sigh of relief. I can't say it enough. It's possible that you are correct, Chia. Hinata asked, what's up? At times when Naruto desires to be alone, he heads to a specific training ground. Chia will be the guidance you require, as Haruki stated. You may be able to persuade him that not all individuals harbor hatred towards him. It is important for him to have hope. It's possible that you can outdo us, Hinata-sama. Despite her determination, Hinata nodded and disregarded her voice. It's possible that Ako-san is correct. Naruto contemplated if I should feel a hint of pride for my actions. He was seated on a massive tree branch, slightly beyond the perimeter of Training Ground 44, which is one of his preferred locations near Konoha. The Forest of Death is the ideal setting for a demon to retreat and enjoy its presence. Due to the closed and restricted access, Naruto had been curious about the area. It was for this reason that he got involved in it, about a year ago. The creatures residing there showed no signs of being troublesome, as they usually left when they caught sight of him. The Kyuubi was spotted by them at first. He found peace and tranquility in the area. There were no humans around to disturb him. There was no one who could bother him or give him the unwelcome cold, hateful stares he had become accustomed to. Despite being his residence for a considerable duration, the Hyuga place was overcrowded. People who had the ability to look through walls gave him the impression that he had little privacy. Despite the clan's general policy of not using the Byakugan indoors, the consequences for indecent actions were quite severe. I suppose my trust in people was never the most important thing to me. Not many people gave me the chance to do so. Jizan, Jiraiya, Haruki-san and Ako-san are the names of the 4 people he had opened up to in his life. There is a chance that there are some other individuals who possess such wild abilities. Naruto chuckled at the idea of it. I am puzzled as to why I dream about it, isn't that true? It's not a story about friends suddenly appearing out of nowhere. Given that I am not human, why would I expect humans to treat me with kindness? They had been working together for a few months, just like Sasuke and Sakura, and they would probably treat him as an alien. Worse still, they could accuse him of taking Shino from them. It was already before they would know who he really was. I am a delusion speaker who cannot comprehend my actions. I should have escaped so quickly, leave this small area and start over again, somewhere far away. Naruto's sigh was heard. What's more, they would soon declare me a missing nin and send me on my way as an Umbu or Hunter dynasty. I'm not equipped to take down a Jonin, bounty hunters. The possibility of living as a regular person would be completely excluded, as my chakra would make me inferior to those with exceptional sensory abilities. It is also not possible to find shelter in other hidden villages. I am from Konoha and it is probable that they would imprison me, even if they were unaware of the Kyuubi's existence. No matter what, I would still be fucked up. It is probable that the most suitable choice would be to live in the wild, without any companionship. Without anyone to annoy him. To assess him for something he couldn't handle. In Naruto's mind, what made him act as if he were at risk of dying? I wish I could live like those tigers, wouldn't it be difficult? Naruto asked. I'll spend the majority of my time hunting and consuming meals. I am the only one who can stand against the world, without any confusion from others. It would bring me peace if I could just listen to the tigers, and then he noticed a woman calling out for help. Hinata observed her death from afar. Tigers, which were massive and hungry, had encircled her. Even though she and Chie, who was now quite large, had managed to turn off some of the tigers, she knew they were in danger. Their strength, speed, and agility were excessive. She was unable to jump into the trees as they would attack her at the moment she had to release her defenses. Moreover, even though Chie was growing in size, the feline's wound would keep her from climbing. Hinata was unable to climb the tree and carry the cat, while still trying to protect herself. Chie grew angry with herself after being caught off guard and growled at their opponents. Hinata cried out, "Help me, please. I'm questioning whether or not anyone should have to put their own life on the line to save someone like me, who I think is a failure." She reminisced bitterly as the nearest tiger leapt, but it ended up colliding with a tree close by. Naruto had arrived at his destination. Before everything turned black, the frightened girl whispered Naruto-kun. The Kyuubi, a much stronger predator than the tigers, was enough to convince them to give up their hunt. They, like all the creatures, either ran away fearlessly or surrendered to Naruto's control. Naruto mumbled in a somber tone, acknowledging that one of the few benefits of having that damned fox in me was to have sustained by looking down at his unconscious teammate. He asked her companion, why the hell was she here? Did she follow me? We're looking for you, Chie whispered, before returning to her smaller body. She expressed her desire to talk with you about how she became your teammate. Those tigers, that's the one, she exclaimed as she gazed at the wound on her left thigh. Ignoring the exhaustion she experienced due to her transformation and struggle with her larger self. Despite being well fed, her transformation required too much energy from her chakra reserves. They were taken by Naruto to a nearby cobblestone, right next to an insignificant spring. Naruto was relieved that the cold water used to clean Hinata's few cuts did not cause any significant harm. Despite the fact that they may not disappear immediately, such as with him, these wounds should be minor issues for regular individuals. It's unlikely that she would die from it. Naruto was ignorant of the significance of what type of serious injury normal people could have. Chie stated that she required rest, and she aimed to boost her energy levels for rapid recuperation. Naruto was washing his shirt clean, which Hinata had used to purloin with blood, when he saw the mud on his face. Regrettably, she woke up the moment he was doing the necessary cleaning on her face. It's possible that the cold and damp cloth had woken her, but Naruto couldn't make sense of this. Her blood flow returned when she saw the boy, his bare chest, hanging over her. It encompasses everything. Subsequently, Naruto-kun, she muttered with great intensity. When she saw him frown, she stepped back and put her foot down. He was completely serious when he asked, "What is the reason behind this, despite what had occurred?" She asked, "What's the reason?" with confusion. He pointed at her. "You're in this place, right? Why are you here?" He replied. "I'm not sure what to make of it. I came across Haruki-san in person." "Shichie-san," she declared. "I saw you walk away, I thought of what they were doing. You were deeply troubled." Naruto raised his eyebrows and said, "It's not worth putting your life on the line for that. There are warning signs all over the place. There are some reasons why this area is off limits, and there are also some justifications for it. This is a risky move." Did Kurinai-sensei's teaching emphasize the importance of taking care of our fellow players? She kept her true reason hidden. "I am not a member of your team, and it hasn't been confirmed yet." If Shino accepts, Naruto's expression was grimacing. Naruto waited patiently, while she found it challenging to reply. "I suppose Kurinai-sensei conveyed the same message to you. Although it would have been reasonable if you had asked me to decline the transfer request, I'm not sure that's what was being requested. Instead of risking your own life, you could have either waited for me to flee or give me the final push." Hinata scowled. "Are I refuse? Run away? Why don't you run to the corner? Can you explain why I am hesitant to let you go?" Naruto's hushed laughter was more powerful than she had imagined. "I am taking it very seriously," she assured him while simultaneously hammering his chest. The laughter, lack of sleep, and frustration from the past days were all factors that caused him to lose balance and fall into the spring. He bounced back from the shallow water and emerged unharmed. Hinata's expression caused him to burst out laughing again, this time with real laughter. He uttered, "Hinata-sama, please follow that order," and she frowned. "San. I am grateful for your help." His expression was weak, and he smiled at her confusion. She appeared to be unsure about the emotion she wanted to express on her face, so she displayed it all over them. "I can't say it enough. I didn't instruct you to do it." He asked, "Why don't you want me to leave?" "Konoha?" and she nodded in surprise. Hinata made an effort not to blush despite the loss of her previous confidence. "I can't say it enough." "Wow, why do you want me to leave?" she screamed with anger. Naruto's response to the question, "Why?" was one that caused him to frown. "I'm not like most people hate you, so why would you do it?" Hinata muttered, You came to my rescue. Even if you are disliked by others, it doesn't mean that they have the right to feel this way." When Hinata looked at Naruto's eyes, she almost shook his head in fear. It appeared as though he was serious, but all she could see was the coldness in his eyes. Doubts. The gleaming and gentle twink in his eyes had vanished, replaced by a contemplative gaze that appeared far away. His chakra was revealed to her. As gloomy and unattainable as the intense heat of summer in August. Naruto whispered, "What would you do if they were accurate? Where did all the light and gentleness go? You're saying, don't run away from me. I am unsure of. You should never engage in conduct that could be considered hateful. B because you are not a part of the group. You're too gentle," she declared. Hinata's blush grew increasingly red as Naruto looked at her closely. "Hinata, I am not benevolent or compassionate. I'm a shinobi and do whatever it takes. The ultimate aim is to be a gentle person. You should never attempt to harm someone who has no right to it," Hinata told him. "I'm saved by you, Chie, and others, but I know that my lack of skills is not a hindrance. Nevertheless, your help has been valuable." Naruto's sigh was heard. "I'm considering giving Team 8 a shot. I don't have any other destinations to explore. The only way I can be free is if I am killed. No matter where I go, I can never break out of my current state." It was suggested by Naruto that perhaps it would be more enjoyable to seek revenge against those foolish individuals. He wondered how the village would behave if he expelled all those who had an unfavorable opinion of him. Additionally, she gave me a more or less direct directive. Naruto did not waste time on a tiger's leg, which had been cut off by another animal. Naruto opted for Hinata and Chie as his passengers to enable them to travel quickly. Before she could object, he had picked her up. Carrying her in his arms like a princess, he leapt over the trees and onto the rooftops. She was taken aback by the swiftness with which he proceeded. However, his eyes had not undergone a significant makeover. He mentioned that he had been contemplating it and was relieved to have not left. The warmth emanating from him caught Hinata's attention. Hinata's habit of fainting again prompted her to return to the Hyuga compound, even though they did not meet their entire time. The sight of her student wearing bandages caused her to raise her eyebrows. Kurenai had gathered her updated team to conduct a new round of introductions. "Welcome aboard, Naruto. Let's have a quick introduction. I want to know who we are. Our initial mission together was short-lived as we never really got to know each other. To start, I am Yuhi Kurenai, a 28-year-old jonin who is proficient in genjutsu. I did learn some fuinjutsu too," she said, causing him to be surprised. "I am Hyuga Hinata, a 12-year-old genin, picture posed in the photo, trained in my clan's Tatajutsu style, Pisoul style, striking fist to the bone with its wooden body." The boy expressed his boredom by saying, "Inazuka Kiba." "Akamaru," he said, pointed at the dog that was yawning on top of him. Naruto's expression was a scratch in the back of his head, and he looked around to see if the jonin was serious. She had a better impression of caring than his previous sensei. The 12-year-old Uzumaki Naruto. Kurenai expressed his gratitude by saying, "Kakashi told me to ask questions thoroughly about your abilities, unless I wanted to be constantly surprised. If that is your preference, then I have a liking for both Futon and Katon Jutsu styles." Naruto reacted by sigilling, stating his lack of interest in the matter. It appears that he is not ready to divulge all his secrets. Kiba was too caught off guard to continue his indifferent behavior by glancing at the two elements. "Error, no, sorry." "Yes?" Naruto's response was a shrug. "I find wind and fire jutsus to be the most effortless. The others were also tested, but they are much more challenging, with suetons and dotons being the most difficult. I have knowledge of various seals and barriers, primarily derived from the techniques passed down from my family members." Hinata was taken aback when she asked, "Are you part of your clan?" She felt slightly unintelligent as she had never done so before in researching Naruto's lineage. Hinata had a deep-seated hatred for the bloodline obsession that most shinobi displayed. She aimed to believe that people can achieve greatness without being judged by their own attributes, regardless of how they are perceived. It's possible that the Uzumaki clan had a strong background in fuinjutsu, as evidenced by their martial arts training. Naruto shrugged, "It didn't save them from extinction. I was present in that place. Along with my regular jutsu from Academy, I have the Kage Bunshin no and Taju versions. A summons agreement has been signed between me and the Toads." Kurenai chimed in. It's no wonder that Kakashi-senpai was taken aback when he read the list. "Would you be concerned about the reserves of your chakras?" She leaned back, aware that it would not involve any questioning. Kakashi was taken aback when Naruto revealed that they were completely unaware of each other's actions, as evidenced by his frown. "I am familiar with the control exercises of climbing trees, water walking, and more. While not claiming my skill level, I'm relieved to be outshone by Hinata-sama." Hinata was ashamed that Naruto thought of her as better than him in matters of power. "You possess significant chakra reserves," she noted. Kurenai quickly remarked that a preposition for the Uzumaki clan was evident, as he preferred not to discuss the Kyubites. "Naruto, can you shed some light on the seals you are familiar with?" He acknowledged that he could not escape from his friend. "The stealth seal is the most valuable tool, as it makes me invisible to others and prevents me from being recognized. No one will be able to hear, see, or smell me when I'm active. I'm not visible. The immolation seal and the infernal seal are two examples of offensive seals that pertain to fire, as they both burn away targets with their flames. A different seal allows me to make things heavier. A modified version of that seal permits me to intensify gravity in a limited region for 3 to 5 seconds. It's not very useful at the moment, but I'm working on it, Naruto said with a scowl. Naruto's expression was a grimace, and he went on incessantly. The sentry seal can be used to detect intruders and has been modified to serve as the foundation for a barrier wall. The other's surprised looks caused Naruto to momentarily feel embarrassed. I am familiar with the concept of counter seals, which are seals that can ensnare other seal species. I am not very stable at this time, and I almost destroyed Ichiraku's once when I tried to use it on his own infernal seal, he said with a weak smile. I also study other things, like the basics of a seal which will serve as an indicator for Shunshin Jutsu. Even with the accuracy, I still fail. He chuckled briefly. Chaos require a lot of energy, but it should allow me to move quickly and easily to areas that I cannot see. Additionally, highlights the peril of failing to make a successful attempt. I solely engage in practice with Bunshine and on the open field. My only wish is to avoid getting trapped inside a wall or something. Hinata appeared to be slightly green-eyed when he first heard the idea. Kurenai thoughtfully remarked, I can't teach you much about Fuinjutsu, with the intention of making it clear. She questioned Kakashi's ability to ask him what his plans were, as it would have made him more impressed. I am capable of teaching you how to store weapons, food, and drink. How did you learn about this? Profoundly was due to the efforts of Jiraiya, an old pervert who taught me a great deal of subjects and also gave me thousands of Uzumaki scrolls and books. By using Kage Bunshin, I can quickly learn and read material. I was unable to do it for more than a few years. With a contemplative expression, Naruto conveyed his thoughts. Kurenai inquired about his taiji, are you familiar with your kanji? Kakashi had already informed her that the Sannin had taken part in Naruto's training, but he had refused to explain why. Is there a training program for weapons in my taijutsu? I am of the opinion that my speed needs to be improved. When it comes to weapons, I didn't invest much time in training with them. Unless there is a high demand for talent, Madogai would not be willing to take on any student. The belief in Kurenai was unwavering. It's a good question to ask. Can you advise me on how to use today as an opportunity to train and improve our mutual skills? Kage Bunshin, Naruto said with a shrug on his lips, as he didn't realize why Kiba asked. Kiba scowled when asked if they had buns. Naruto sighed and inquired, what is the benefit of having those things? It's not like Age Bunshin no Jutsu, unlike the regular version. Alternatively, the Celestial Bunshin varieties. The jutsu will transmit the experiences of the user who is a Kage Bunshin to its end. Despite Kiba's lack of expertise in studying jutsu's theory, Kurenai took the initiative to take on the task. Kurenai said, why don't you just make a few clones so you can fight Hinata and Kiba? Naruto asked, are you a few? 2, 10, 20. What's the answer? It would be too weak to fight them, Kiba quipped, trying to protect his pride after not understanding the Kage Bunshin before. Due to its cost of chakras, the Kage Bunshin was only used by a few and he was aware of this. Naruto's response to the question, what exactly is going on, was characterized by a sense of wonder. The strain on his chakra reserves is probably not felt by him. Despite the relaxed tone, Kurenai thought that his ability to train soldiers for combat in larger groups would be advantageous. Naruto, there are 2 tasks that you should perform at the moment. No one-on-one fights are involved in these matches due to the light hitting, resulting in no injuries. You have to fight me, she added. You're curious, but not because of it. Naruto's response, I don't have any idea, was a shrug. "Oh, my God," Inuzuka Tsum yelled at her son's mother. Kiba's annoyance was evident when he replied, "Why is that hiding something?" "You've remarked here," 15 minutes later, his sister added. "Nevertheless, there is a secret that everyone keeps under wraps. I'm thinking of you in that drawer." He yelled out, "Shut up, Hana," before being punched. Tsum yelled out, "Shut up, both of you." Hana is correct in stating that we all have secrets to share. It's clear that I haven't learned much about the boy, but I can disclose that Hyuga took him in a while back. Despite their lack of intelligence, they are as sensitive to danger as we are. Kiba retorted, admitting that the scent was perilous. Kakashi inquired about the issues after observing Kurenai's frown. "Do you have any concerns?" "Indirectly, but not entirely. It's somewhat of a challenge to switch teams so soon before the exams," she admitted. "You've gotten an amazing penis," Guy declared. "I am sorry to inform you that he is no longer able to participate in my youthful morning exercises, which is unfortunate." Despite his reputation, Lee and Tenten worked together brilliantly. The focus should be on training teamwork. Kakashi sighed and agreed with Kurenai's judgment. Unfortunately, that also entails another wave of D-ranked missions. Sasuke's actions were particularly noteworthy, given the circumstances. Shino's calmness persists despite his lack of physical strength, making him a more suitable member of the group. "Bet you can," Kurenai exclaimed with a smile. Despite his quiet demeanor, Shino is a highly skilled performer. Kakashi scowled, "But did you know what Naruto's abilities are?" Naruto-kun's burdens and secretive behavior have left him unable to predict his future, but if he succeeds, it could lead to the ability to become a Hokage-like force. At the very least, Kakashi concurred. The genin in him is quite uncommon for its size. While it's true that the Kyuubi increases his innate power by a considerable amount, the rate at which he gains strength is incredible. The Kyuubi's potential influence is causing me concern. Guy thought it was a bit off-putting, she said, hinting at his lack of communication. It's possible that he is unconcerned about the well-being of those in his surroundings. Unappealing. Despite being polite, he never opens up about his feelings. According to Tenten, he has been talking a little more recently. But that was before. You are aware of this. We've accomplished a couple of missions, Kurenai confirmed. He often appears unenergetic, but when he behaves, it seems unlikely that many of our Chunin would be able to handle him. The Jonin's proficiency in Fuinjutsu would pose difficulties for even the most experienced fighter. In terms of teamwork, he remains weak, Kakashi stated. He's not arrogant, but he doesn't prioritize others or his allies. The idea that he is concerned about his own well-being makes it almost impossible to fathom such things. The expression on Kurenai's face was grimacing. The possession of that demon compelled his growth to accelerate at a rate greater than any I had ever experienced. In the past, Konoha has had individuals with exceptional abilities, Kakashi remarked. I must acknowledge that they are exceedingly infrequent. It's possible that my old friend is Itachi. If Naruto can maintain his mental stability, he will be an incredible asset to Konoha, Guy said with a beaming smile. Despite being indoors in a building, the green-clad Jonin's teeth were always used to reflect sunlight. He was able to bend the laws of nature with his enthusiasm, as if it were enough. Naruto smirked in wonder. What's the issue with Naruto? You know we need some D-rank missions before we can get used to a new team, right? Kurenai asked. Naruto's sarcastic response was, I understand, but they should execute the mission of A or B rank instead of D. He scowled again when the others looked at him. Despite my efforts to capture the thing multiple times, it seems to be evading me. Kiba's expression was a murmur, and he smiled. Unlike dogs, cats are not stupid. Akamaru smiled with delight. With Hinata in its grasp, the cat instinctively pounces and snuggles up to her. Chia won't listen to you, Kiba. Naruto's expression was one of a frown. She had a tendency to pull your eyes in an uncontrollable way. Provided she's in a good mood. Ultimately, both were accurate. Naruto had to hold his ground so that the cat could jump into Hinata's arms. The creature, despite being unhappy with Naruto's presence, refused to move. The cat's owner was irritated by this, as well. Despite being kept in Hinata's arms, Tora the cat refused to leave even if it was returned to Daimyo Mother. Naruto had lost interest in the tedious D-rank missions after the Zabuza incident. The day has come to an end, Naruto muttered as he returned home. En Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, what's the problem? I am seeking your input, please. We're now on the same team, right? She asked hesitantly, acknowledging that no accolades had been given. Your social status is still more elevated than mine, even though you may be above me, Naruto retorted. What's causing your irritation? Naruto's stutter was intensified by his suggestion of having more than one eyebrow raised, but she eventually managed to ask whether he had any interest in his new team. Kurenai-sensei's genital training is vastly different from that of Kakashi Sensei, Naruto said. It appears as though she truly values our relationship. Is it possible that her concern for us is causing her to feel anxious about making us work beyond our capabilities, or is she being too critical? It's possible that I'm just accustomed to Gai-sensei and his crazy morning exercises. With a shrug, Naruto proceeded to say. Whatever happened, it's relatively minor compared to what occurred before. I've already surpassed that. Naruto's tendency to conceal his emotions was easily understood by Hinata, who also knew the same thing. The reason behind the occurrence of Sasuke-kun and his partner was unclear. Sasuke team felt compelled to take down an adversary that was already hostile. I stood there, and he didn't care, Naruto said with a sigh. I can confirm that we didn't have mutual feelings for each other, but it was a positive development. A fireball had minimal impact on the matter. Hinata expressed her sadness by stating, I know, and reminiscing about the random disagreements that occurred between the two boys during their time in the academy. What led to the motivation behind it? Why did it affect you so greatly? Was the mission accomplished? What is the target of her character? Naruto inquired. She usually doesn't have the motivation to talk to me, but now she is questioning me. It was an A-rank mission, but we assumed it was a C-list mission. Is it necessary for you to say something? Eliminate. Naruto was slightly taken aback by the question, can you kill people? Alright, but we had to do it. Either we killed them or the other way around, Naruto responded with a shrug. It was not enjoyable, he insisted upon seeing Hinata's distressed expression. Killing people is never a fun activity. Nevertheless, it is certain to be present. I said, I am. Hinata-sama, we are shinobi? Regardless of the mission's outcome, we must endure it. Human nature dictates that we must take extreme measures to safeguard those who are in need. Had I not intervened to stop those mercenaries in the land of waves, they would have looted, raped, and murdered innocent individuals. A village of wrecked remains and dead people would have been left behind. If I have to choose, I would rather spill blood than turn it back. I would have to choose the least harmful way to solve the problem. Naruto's expression was one of a frown. Moreover, they were nothing but human beings. TSK. Don't be so harsh on her, stupid two-leg, he declared. Chia kindly leaped down from a nearby building. White-eyed Two-Legheim was simply curious because she's concerned about you. See chief of the company. Hinata's head was red as she tried to protest, feeling ashamed. I didn't have a clue. Wouldn't that be a good point? Chia, you are part of our team, Naruto revealed, without recognizing Hinata's habit of fidgeting with her index fingers. Chia sarcastically replied, all right, before exclaiming, good. Despite this, Pinky is still a touch more reserved than the princess she encounters with. Instinctually subtle, Naruto questioned, bewildered. I'm not sure what to think, she said. Hi there, I hope you're okay with Kiba. Due to the change, Hinata was somewhat perplexed and tried to change the subject by making a conscious decision about which way Chie was pointing. Chie's complete animosity towards his teammate and Akamaru, as she knew, led to her success. Irrespective of the breed, dogs are known to be uncivilized. The dog brain sickness is evidently affecting the two-leg. Naruto's expression was a murmur. Cat, don't be so cruel. Are you feeling uneasy about me putting my nails in your shoulder? No, Chie-sama, the boy taunted her by mimicking her voice. I had a feeling that Kiba would react to my warning, given his familiarity with him, he said before Chie's threat was confirmed. Be mute. Hinata's demeanor was quite down to earth. Don't worry. Naruto yelled out in triumph. Although I'm not sure about the Team 7, as long as Kiba doesn't attempt to kill me, is that a better option? Hinata initiated the process. I can't say it enough. Hitomi smiled and asked, what the hell is wrong with Hinata? I can't say it enough. Naruto-kun's conversation with me occurred the previous day. I am now cognizant of this information. I wonder if Hitomi misinterpreted her daughter's body language, which she then frowned at. What the hell is this? Hinata almost whispered, that Naruto-kun has something sealed within him, the demon. Despite their daughter's apparent nervous breakdown, Hitomi was glad that Hayashi wasn't there. Naruto's workload is immense. The truth is undisclosed, and if I had disclosed it, would have committed a death penalty. Hinata appeared slightly pale. I can't say it enough. I was ignorant. Can you explain what I am? Now that you're aware, do you fear Naruto-kun? Hitomi inquired, hoping to gauge their reaction. She was aware of her daughter's feelings towards the boy and had a gut feeling that the Kyuubi could not alter much about him. The answer given by Hinata was, no. Naruto-kun is unable to provide any assistance. He is not the devil. Her mother exclaimed, showing her some degree of pride. The distinction is not widely recognized by the majority. You're welcome. Is the father also cognizant of it? Alright, so we can. Before accepting Naruto as our clan's honored guest, we were aware of his significance. It's important to keep in mind that Naruto-kun is not a dangerous character, Hinata. He bears a terrible burden that is loathed by both the outside and internal enemies, leaving many doubting whether Naruto-kun could maintain his mental health to this day. At the very least, Hinata's mother reassured her that she was not mistaken for Naruto-kun. Despite his strength, Naruto-kun is clearly hiding his agony, as you can see from close examination. Has he ever exposed his authentic sentiments to you? What is the explanation for this? Hinata exhibited a blushing state. Hinata, take heed of your teachings. It is impossible for individuals to reveal a portion of their true identity. Hinata nodded and Hitomi proceeded with his actions. Naruto has never been able to put his trust in others. Prior to his arrival, he was in a state of absolute solitude. He hardly opened his mouth, even when we were around. My cousin and I share a common bond. Hinata nodded once more, recollecting how he always performed during the academy. Naruto-kun grins occasionally while conversing with others. When he thinks that nobody is looking at him, it seems like the distance has only grown. Naruto-kun must be feeling unsupported by his previous team and uncertain about the reliability of his new team, Hitomi revealed with a sad expression. Hinata expressed her confidence in the truth, stating that she could always count on Naruto-kun's help to come to their aid. The rumors within the clan had caused Hitomi to feel disappointed, as she was unable to protect her daughter from them. On the flip side, offering protection would only erode her power. Hitomi was a master of the art that the world becomes harsher when you are taught to look for lies. The woman smiled at her daughter, convinced that Hinata could only grow because of this, if she was directed in the right direction. This topic is a source of great distress for Naruto-kun, but bearable reminders. Avoid forcing him to talk about it. Listen to him when he wants to talk. Hinata gave a serious nod with her eyes. Mother, I will give my best shot. That virtuous-looking pair of legs. The mother and daughter were oblivious to Chia's presence as she sat on the other side of the door. It's possible that Naruto-sama could be saved thanks to her luminous, tender heart, which can aid in healing his soul. Kurenai directed her attention towards her new student after directing Kiba to fight an uncharacteristically quiet Hinata. Naruto, she remarked. At first, I want to ask if there is anything you can tell me. What's your dream, sensei? Exactly. What is your plan for becoming a Hokage? The defender of the community. That's how I will become the strongest person on earth, so that people can't help but acknowledge me. Naruto's decision to become a Hokage goes beyond his strong character. Despite this, I'm not convinced that politics will be advantageous for me. I am aware of my identity. What people think of me. If I am to become the Hokage, it will be a difficult journey. That's the reason why I go to the gym. At some point, I will be so strong that political nonsense becomes impractical and no one can use it to defeat their opponents. Kurenai expressed his disapproval of politics, stating that it can prevent conflicts. Naruto asked, if you are strong, can you lead? If I were to use force to control the village, would you agree that he wanted to become a dictator? His smile faded away as his blue eyes shone. I understand the feeling of fearing people, Senegade. To be left without assistance, the victim of those who are ruling over you. By doing this, I will revolutionize the world. Don't assume that I will be wicked because of that fox. I aim to eradicate this system that results in the creation of aliens. A system that fosters isolation and loneliness due to the lack of equality among people. Clans can create their own private worlds, isolated from society in their individual pride and arrogance. Treating non-members as second-rate shinobis. Naruto expressed his disbelief with the question, do you want to seek retribution? It would be fun, he joked. Nevertheless, these events have already taken place before. I'd prefer to be certain that it never will. That is the reason why I will fight for it. Even if I stand alone, it's necessary for someone to make those foolish people aware of their actions. He speaks about humans as if they were not human. The realization of Kurenai was tangible. His intentions are more positive than I anticipated. He won't be able to find many supporters in the current government. In the end, it's all right. Kurenai directed the boy's attention away from individual exertions to teamwork. In the previous week, you spent most of the time working alone whenever possible. I acknowledge that Kiba's demeanor is not entirely positive. Listen to Hinata's words. Naruto's expression was initially grimacing, but he quickly returned to his neutral tone, leading Kurenai to question her own eyesight. I've always been alone in my work, he stated on an equal note. It appears that people prefer it in a way that allows them to avoid me. Kurenai's response left him feeling slightly upset and in a frown. Was he not treated so badly by his former team? Kakashi-senpai has witnessed too much. Perceived a significant amount of darkness in this world. Asuma explained that his decision to stop using Umbu was influenced by that. Collaborating with your teammates is a crucial aspect of Team 8. If any of them complains about you, I'll change their minds. The Hokage was not part of Team 8, as I stated earlier, and I am confident that you can counterbalance their weaknesses, Naruto. You are a ninjutsu expert, after all. Naruto's remark was, power is not a problem, it shouldn't be. He nodded at his teammates and said, maybe it will be when people see the chakra that the fox gives me. Kurenai declared that, this time we will experience a change, as per his statement. Naruto asked, should we commence? Naruto's taijutsu, while not outstanding, had elements of both the Hyuga-style Juken and Gaiman Goken style. Kurenai expressed a smile, saying that Naruto is not the only one who can exhibit creativity in taijutsu. His lack of speed is compensated by his creativity and planning. It's a simple and effective statement. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe for more content. Support the original author by clicking their profile link in the pinned comment of the first video of this series. They deserve the love. Want early access and exclusive content? Join my Patreon community, link below. Your support fuels these videos. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next video. Stay entertained, stay safe.